Used not for leg protection, but instead to give batters a strategic advantage. The idea was that batters could put their leg pads in front of the wicket if they missed the ball, preventing them from being bowled out. Obviously, that all changed when the LBW rule came in, but that was the theory behind them. It was thanks to this guy that shin protection made its way over to football. Meet Samuel Widdowson. He was a cricketer and a footballer. He played for Nottingham Forest back in the late 1800s, and he wanted a way to protect his legs from nasty tackles. Apparently, he'd broken his leg in a match against Sheffield United in 1874 and wanted to stop it from happening again. Naturally, his mind drifted to his other favourite sport, where players had been wearing these pads. Story goes, Widdowson cut up his cricket pads, sewed them into his socks and popped them on before taking to the footy pitch. Ta-da! Shin pads. Like all great genius inventors, everyone took the mickey at first. To be fair, he probably looked quite stupid running around with these on. But it's thought his whole Nottingham Forest team then began wearing them from 1887, and the first known use of them in a match was in 1894, in a match between Newcastle and the then Woolwich Arsenal. Eventually, FIFA clocked on that this protection was pretty important for footballers. Multiple studies have shown wearing shin pads clearly reduces the risk of players getting lower leg injuries. And so in 1990, basically 100 years after Widdowson first put them on, shin pads were made compulsory. It became a part of Law 4 of IFAB. That's the body responsible for setting the laws of the game internationally. But the law doesn't actually specify anything about measurements of shin pads. It just says pads must be made of a suitable material and be of an appropriate size to provide reasonable protection. It's really vague, and players can get away with a lot. A lot of grassroots clubs are choosing to ban micro shin pads for obvious reasons, though, especially after a 15-year-old player from Penistone Church broke his leg while wearing them. Still no change from IFAB, though. That's why Grealish & Co can still get away with these ones, which are no bigger than a credit card and which seem to offer little to no protection whatsoever.
Monday nights are back on talkSPORT. This is kick-off, and after the Community Shield comes the Premier League season. But is there even going to be a title race? Is it over already? We'll talk about relegation as well. We've got our usual pre-season bold predictions, outrageous opinions, stupid opinions. Some of these will blow your minds. You'll be fuming or you'll be laughing. Also coming up, I need your help to get through the season. I have the answer to the handball situation at Norwich on Saturday, and we'll talk about transfer fees going wild. All this and more on Kickoff on talkSPORT. And if it's live football you want, Cardiff Wrexham is live on talkSPORT 2 tonight. We will keep you in touch on talkSPORT. Let me introduce you to the following people. The legend that is our England co-commentator, Stuart Pearce. How are you doing?
It's a pleasure to be wheeled out on a Monday evening. It really is. I thought I had the day off, Darren. All of a sudden I get a phone call to come alongside you two. Magnificent.
I can't believe you said yes. Did they tell you it was me after you'd said yes?
No, they didn't say who was on. They just said, come along, you know what I mean? I said, who's on? They said, we can't tell you that. You won't come.
Unlucky. I do apologise. Darren Lewis, columnist in The Mirror. How are you doing?
Very well indeed. Great to have you back.
Thank you very much.
Actually, in your rightful place. But also, I've never worked with Stuart before, so it's a real pleasure to sit alongside you. Absolutely.
Indeed.
Oh, God.
I know.
Oh, no. People think it's going to be great working with Stuart Pearce. Then they work with Stuart Pearce.
Yeah.
And it is great.
They're sadly disappointed. You know what I mean?
It is good. Listen, we've got so much to talk about tonight. I'm going to call out Stuart Pearce very shortly on something he said to me during the World Cup. But we need to have a bit of a Super League chat as well, which we'll do in a second. But Darren Lewis, are you ready for this show? Because we need... Do you remember the bold predictions we've done?
Yes.
With Danny Murphy? Danny Murphy's normally on Monday night show. We've done bold predictions in the past.
He's still on his yacht at the moment.
What? Having backed his bold predictions. And won himself a yacht. I absolutely love them. And the great thing about them is people remember them forever, especially when you get them really wildly, badly wrong. Are you ready for that?
Listen, I must just predicate this by saying I remember a few years back when I was many years back, actually, when I was a young football reporter, and I just tipped one particular club to be promoted from the Championship. And instead, they were relegated. And there were loads of people who came on and they said, will you consider your position? I was like, I paid a mortgage.
That's a fair point.
Consider your position.
Yeah, football management you do, so the pen you must
what's
be
good for the
mightier than
goose?
scored, indeed.
I do remember, and by the way, we don't accept any fluffing around with these bold predictions.
Oh, no.
Because Darren one year said, I think Aston Villa will do okay. I'm like, I'm not having that. Come on, what's doing okay? Come on, you've got to.
Well, at the time, I said that they would challenge for the title. Challenge, not win, challenge.
Well,
and
when
I
you
was
were
12 months too soon.
Push to be specific on it. And here's a theme as well. 12 months too soon is what we do on this show.
Yes,
Remember,
indeed.
I said Arne Slot, when he was appointed, I said he wouldn't last the season.
You bombarded me with texts.
They won the title. They won the title in the season that he wouldn't last.
Yes.
But the next season,
You were
it went
right.
wrong. So my view of that is, when I look back, and hindsight's a beautiful thing, Klopp won that title.
Yeah.
And in his real first season, Slot didn't last. But that's how my interpretation of it. Obviously, it was completely wrong. And Stuart, you have made some bold predictions in the past, and they have been very wrong, haven't they?
Oh, yeah. And I'm the first one to keep reminding people.
You almost revel in it, don't you?
Yeah, the level of consistency. I don't like these people who come on radio shows or TV, make predictions, and then bury them halfway through the season.
Totally agree.
I'm not one of those animals.
Stand by what you say.
2 years ago, I backed Newcastle to win the league, and I stand by them probably going down this year. You know what I mean? So the kiss of death was on Newcastle at the time. You know, after 11 minutes of the Community Shield, I made a statement on air. I turned around and went, Bruno is going to be an absolute massive asset to Arsenal, but Solis, the wide player, is going to take quite a while to set in. You're going to have to be patient with him. That was after 11 minutes. Halfway through the second half, I apologised for a bum steer on Solis because he got better and better and better as the game went on, you know.
Amazing. We'll talk about Arsenal's comfortable victory in the Community Shield and what it means for the title race ahead and for the season ahead and for Manchester City as well. I'm going to call you out, though, Stuart Pearce, over something you said to me after England went out of the World Cup in Atlanta. And this was, so we'd done this podcast. We did a podcast after every England game. We did a lot of podcasts during the year.
We did.
But after the all England games, and after the England went out, we did this podcast. And right at the very end, after we'd all questioned Tuchel and questioned the subs and questioned the tactics and all of that, and the real reasons why England went out, I just threw in right at the end. Do you think that Arsenal have overused Declan Rice this season, and that's why he was too tired to be himself? Well, it absolutely went wild. All of the Arsenal fans who've suddenly started working at talkSPORT and doing shows over the summer, all just latched onto that and thought, I'm having a bit of that. After I'd asked the question, what the word you used was ludicrous, wasn't it? You basically called me ludicrous.
Yeah, and I stick by that.
Now, how can you stick by that?
I don't know how you managed to put all England's woes all on the doorstep of Arsenal Football Club and Arteta. He literally said, whatever you've seen at the World Cup from England that you don't like, blame Arsenal.
Do you know why I love working with you already? Right after 11 minutes, right? Your punditry is the way you play, uncompromising. You walk it like you talk it. I absolutely love that.
Well, it's basically cheating.
And
I didn't say that at all.
I agree with that characterisation of England's problem. I actually agree, and you know I love you, but I got to say,
I didn't say that though. I'd blame Tuchel squarely. You might not agree with that, but I totally blamed that.
Eventually, but you soon got round to Arsenal quick.
I asked a question, and it wasn't double quick. I asked a question, Declan Rice being taken off, being subbed. Is that because he's been overused
as
this
well?
season?
You threw his name into the mix.
Who was that? Saka
and Rice. You said, look at them, both too tired. Well done.
Saka wasn't fully fit. The question mark about Saka was about whether he was fit enough for the World Cup. And actually, there's now a debate as to whether he was even injured. Should he have been brought on? Should he have even started that semi-final? So, but Declan Rice done a bit of work on this. There's no Arsenal outfield player in the Premier League last season played more minutes than Declan Rice. They even took him to Port Vale for a League Cup tie. They put him on the pitch with 10 minutes to go. Ridiculous.
I was at that game and actually covered the Port Vale game. And I was shouting down to the bench, "Get Rice on!"
I was with you at that game.
Exactly.
And Port Vale got relegated that season. They could have beaten them with me in the side.
Yeah, but Arsenal didn't.
But he was overused. Now, the great thing about Arsenal this season is I think that the squad will be managed better, and that means players like Declan Rice won't be overused, which is a criticism of Arteta a lot. But unfortunately, we haven't got a tournament at the end of this season for the England men's team, so it's not going to help us this summer at all.
I really don't get this overusing of players, though. I went to Wealdstone on Saturday, and it was 45 years ago. Okay, it said, going back 45 years, I had an article in the Wealdstone programme where I started playing non-league football. And it said we were away today, 45 years ago, we were away at Hastings, drew 0-0. In that season, I played 71 matches. What would I have been then? Probably a 19-year-old kid, 71 games. Messi plays all. I'm not suggesting I'm Messi or Ronaldo.
Well, it sounded like
Don't get me here. They never went through the Wealdstone pathway. But they play. Look at the games they both play. Yeah. I don't know what this clamour is with people to stop good players playing football. I really don't. I don't understand it. And I'll rest them. You can't guarantee form. You can rest them all you want. You can't guarantee form when they come back.
It's a really interesting debate. I remember when I was reporting, I was about to cover the Chelsea's FA Cup semi-final. I think they had a big European game 4 days later. And all of us expected Frank Lampard, in particular, not to play in that game. He'd had a long season, and the feeling was that he would be saved for the bigger game, which was a Champions League semi-final a few days later. And he played, and when some of us got him in the mix zone afterwards, he was saying, I'm the sort of player that thrives on football. And I think that the debate is more nuanced and overtired, with respect to you, because normally when people say with respect, they don't mean any respect whatsoever. You know what I mean? Because I just think that every player, as you suggest, is different. Some players, you're right, you play them too much and you start to see the wear and the tear. But other players, they're I don't want to say indestructible.
No, they're battle hardened.
Yeah. That's exactly the term I would use. And they love that. They love being on the edge. They love being in the fight. And I think Declan strikes me as one of those players, because I was at the game yesterday. And when he came on, I was surprised. And because obviously, to me, it just felt like he needed a long season. They were dominating with that midfield of Lewis Skelly and who's alongside Lewis Skelly? Remind me. Oh, I wasn't forgotten as well. Well, anyway, they
Bruno.
That's right. And they dominated that midfield. And the thing that I took away from the game was that this season is going to be a very strong one for Arsenal for two reasons. You looked at City and they had no answer to the midfield power and creativity of Arsenal yesterday. And secondly, because of those performances, you just get the feelings that Zubimendi and Rice can be saved for really big games if he so chooses. But I think Rice will want to play.
I absolutely 100% agree with that. And I think Declan Rice is the sort of character that will always want to play, but probably sometimes need to save him from himself. So, listen, I think I had a point. Maybe it wasn't such a strong point in terms of England going out, but it certainly wasn't ludicrous, Stuart Pearce. What is ludicrous is Hull FC's season in Super League, which is absolutely terrible. I've just had to endure you and the bulletin reader Tom Clayton talking about Leeds and Warrington, respectively, which is really annoying because you're at the other end of the table. So, I mean, if you want to talk about Super League, you can. Have you got anything to say about Super League? Because I'm not joining in the conversation.
You're not?
There's
no it with me?
No Super League season this season. It doesn't exist because Hull FC are so bad.
That is so poor, isn't it? You know, you call yourself a journalist? Is that... Right, okay. Your words, not mine. Super League this year, fantastic. You know and I know the top 7 are fighting for the top 6 place. Absolutely brilliant. I'm off to Hull KR tomorrow to watch Warrington game, which will be a sensational game. Wigan are coming with a wet sail at the moment, aren't they? I think they're 14 games unbeaten.
I don't know. Is there a season going on?
Look, I've never known anyone you know those individuals that support their team from thick and thin, and you're needed. Being a team player means when your team are not doing well, that's when you step forward. 100%. That's when you take one on the chin.
Can you tell our
not
players
when you're doing well. That's when you step back and say, hey,
Stuart, can you have a word with the Hull FC dressing room, who won at St Helens last week, lost home to Castleford this week? I mean, come on. They're the ones that need telling that, not me. And my point is this, okay? Declan Rice, battle-hardened. Super League players, ridiculously battle-hardened. I mean, those players play on with broken backs.
Yes.
It's just insane what they do. And I've asked you the question many times, Stuart. Do you think you could have been a rugby league player?
No, I don't. I mean, there's one thing picking on a little winger. You know what I mean? Like, I bumped into Pat Nevin at the game yesterday, and Pat walked through, and I thought he was going to sue me, you know what I mean, for all the ailments he's got, you know? And I thought, yeah, you know, he's the sort you could hang on your rear mirror, Pat, you know? He's that small, which is fine, you know? But I tell you what, I used to play rugby at school, rugby union, and I used to run, and if a big un come at me to tackle me, I just used to throw it over my shoulder. Irrelevant to who was there, it didn't really matter. So the answer's no, not brave enough.
Super League, we've got it live on talkSPORT 2 throughout the course of the season. It's coming to a climax very soon, but that will not involve Hull FC, sadly. We'll talk about the Community Shield next.
What, €1 for one Prem?
Yeah, all right. Yeah,
Two.
obviously.
You're swapping 2, Jay. You are.
Don't know.
Jay, you are.
Maybe 2. Don't know, though. Like, them nights as a final, you know, you've been in cup finals. Them nights, you never give them
Jay,
up.
I've been 2. And do you know what? I don't want to bring it up, yeah? You cost me one of them.
What do you mean I cost you one of them?
You missed the pen. So
Hold on. Wait, hold on. I didn't see you taking one.
I said to Harry, I'll take 1.
No.
You do 5.
No. Let's have this out. Don't
Yeah,
be blaming me
yeah.
for your Carabao
for
Cup
that.
loss, all right? Because I took the first pen and Darren Bent was nowhere to be seen.
And listen, I'm going to tell you the exact truth of what happened.
No,
At
go
the
on.
time, I was a penalty taker. I said to Harry, I'll take 1. He said, no, you take 5. I went,
No, Robin
Sure.
King took 5.
no, I was supposed to take 5.
Right.
And he said, you took 1. So it never got to me. I never got to take 1.
Yeah, but the 5th penalty on that night was Robbie King.
No, it's me.
Nah, you're lying.
Ask Keno. I don't know if you can remember, but
Nah, you're lying.
I was 5.
You're lying.
I was a penalty taker at the time. So
So why don't you take 1?
because I said to Harry, he said, no, 5.
Nah, I disagree, mate. I think you bottled it.
Hey, listen. Hey, have you seen the pen, Bill?
I did not cost you a Carabao Cup.
You did, mate.
Where were you in the 90
that,
mins?
that could have been 2, mate. That could have been 2 for me. But no. Cheers, Jake.
That still haunts me, that does.
Does it?
Yeah, it hurts my feelings. I think about it a lot.
Ben Foss had the game of his life, mate.
Yeah.
He won man of the match that game as well.
Mate, it hurts. That game's on as well all the time. They play that game a lot. It's such a bad game.
Do you know what, right? I don't really like giving you credit, but I felt for you in the first one because you were playing well in that period
No, I know.
and he left you out completely.
Yeah, it was
I
gutted.
felt for you in that.
Yeah, that hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Community Shield, English football's great curtain raiser, arrives in the Welsh sunshine off the back of a season of joy and triumph for Arsenal. Here is Calafiori getting in behind the back line, straight away being fed by Miles Lewis-Skelly and scoring for Arsenal inside the first 30 seconds of the Community Shield. Odegaard looks up, tries to curl it far post, Solis back across the face of goal, Havertz is there, Donnarumma can't keep it out. And Arsenal lead by 2 goals to 0.
Are you Tottenham in disguise? Was the taunt they aimed at the Man City fans.
Solis edge of the area, feeds it into Erdogan. Great touch, chance to make it 3. Easily strokes it into the net. It's a wonderful Arsenal move. And again it came about because of a turnover of intensity. The captain takes the acclaim. Arsenal score Manchester City and wipe them off the park with a 3-0 victory, which could have been more. An outstanding performance from start to finish.
It was live on talkSPORT yesterday. Stuart Pearce was there. By the way, an Arsenal fan. How many Arsenal fans got working on the show tonight? There's at least 2, 3, 4. Is that 4 or 3? I can't see that. 3. That's
I'm sure they said 2. I saw 2 fingers go up to you, big
love
man.
me, really. One of them has just come in and says, basically, Rice needs a rest. He played more minutes last season than Chelsea played, the whole team, Liverpool played, and Spurs played. So
sensational stat.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. But listen, you can read into it what you want. You can ignore it if you want. All I know is he looked knackered at the World Cup. Cheers, Arteta. So was it a pre-season friendly and meaningless, or Stuart, did you read anything into what happened yesterday in Cardiff?
I'll tell you what I read into it. The intensity. I went to the game and I've covered the vast majority of the Community Shields over time, and they're not normally good games, to be fair. I was expecting a 1-1, go to penalties, 2 teams feeling each other out. Arsenal, from the kick-off, went after Manchester City with a level of intensity that sent a message to the rest of the Premier League. Says, if you think we've climbed Everest last year and we're going to just sit on our laurels and accept that, you're sadly mistaken. They were making challenges in their own box and blocks that they were celebrating like the running to the Premier League season.
29th minute block, he celebrated like you.
Incredible.
You hit that penalty in the Euro 96.
Unbelievable.
Incredible.
It was just... that intensity to win that game yesterday said to me, these are the team you're going to have to beat this year. And when I say that, I think they're going to be serious contenders and they're going to blow the rest away. There's question marks about a lot of the others, new managers, all the main contenders. And I think Arsenal have got that level of stability in the managerial situation, a level of stability. And, I mean, from a collective, the team, I think they've got such a togetherness. You know, every time Man City got the ball and looked as though they might counter-attack, 11 players were in a deep-lying block. And when they turned it over, they were going in numbers as well. Incredible performance.
They've also added some quality, haven't they, this summer?
They really have. Solis looks like a really good player in the attacking left-sided position.
Didn't have the 10 minutes, Stuart.
After 11, I said, get him off.
Bruno looked like a super player as well. And again, as I was saying before, when you look at the midfield, Lewis Skelly, who played such a key role in that opening goal alongside Bruno, it showed you that the midfield is an area where Arsenal are going to be incredibly strong. And what Arteta said afterwards was really, really interesting to me. He said, I looked in their eyes and they showed me an incredible level of desire. And that was the thing that really did make my ears prick up. And the second thing he said was, when they came back from their summer holidays, you know, they didn't come back wanting to rest on their laurels. They all wanted to go again. The hunger was there. And I think that is the key component. Forget about price tags and status and all those things. I think it's the really good players, the top players, the players who have that desire are the ones that you really have to be worried about. They know how to do it now. They've got over the line. I think they will do it again. Yeah,
I think they'll do it again as well. I mean, we'll get into our predictions later and Arsenal may crop up in the bold predictions. Who knows? But one player I wanted to focus on was Miles Lewis-Skelly, and I thought he played really well. Good to see Declan Rice given a rest from the start. Brilliant, he needs it. But this is a player who's been talked about for a lot of the summer, and a young player as well. And there was high expectation of him. And he was put in the team out of position, but grabbed that chance, got in the England team, in inverted commas, out of position, then has moved into his position, natural position, for a Champions League final, and plays in the Community Shield yesterday and plays well after a summer of speculation where they've said he's going to Chelsea, they've said he's going to Liverpool, all this. Arsenal coming out and saying they wanted to keep him anyway. But I think that for him to play, Darren, so well, I think, said a lot about what Arteta's doing in terms of managing individual players.
Absolutely right. And I think, look, I've covered football for 20 odd years, 25 years. You have too. You've played for, 3 decades now. And everyone listening has seen a hell of a lot of football. And what we've seen sometimes is players' futures up in the air. And some of those players, it affects them. It affects their performance. It affects their attitude. It affects their body language. And either they all phone it in, and then after the match they'll be in a mix zone basically talking about their options and talking about the manager and moaning about what they didn't get, or they do what Lewis Skelly did and they turn up and they play and they perform for the shirt, and wherever you put them on the football pitch they will give you 100% because they are committed. And that kind of commitment changes minds and attitudes within the football club. Because they say, do we want to let somebody, not just with his versatility and skill and ability, but with his commitment to the cause, to what we're trying to do, his response to actually being in the newspapers, on the phone-ins, with the uncertainty around his position, his response is to go into a game, a pre-season game in many people's eyes, and say, if you want to sell me, I'm going to show you what you could potentially be missing. I think it was a super performance for all of those reasons and more.
I've got to say, I wasn't asked my opinion who I thought man of the match was, but I would have given it to Lewis Skelly.
Yeah.
I thought he was outstanding in doing some of the stuff that maybe people didn't pick up on. Every time O'Reilly went into that inverted position and arrived in the box, Skelly was aware. He's been told by his manager, you could tell that. And he picked the run up every time O'Reilly went in the box. He was there. There was one that come off the goalie that he almost muscled him out to let the ball go out of play.
He stayed strong, didn't he? Yeah.
Exactly. And that you can tell, he's been coached well and told, look, your job is this, and this. Oh, and by the way, O'Reilly's a massive threat.
Yes.
And he arrives in the box. Don't let him run past you and pass him on. You stay with him. And he's dogmatic enough to do that. I thought he was magnificent yesterday. And why would you let a young player like that at your football club at Arsenal? I don't get it.
Can I just add, he plays now for one of the most demanding managers, not just in the Premier League, I'd say in Europe. Because everybody knows, if you make a mistake in an Arteta team, you will not play. And there are a number of players who have found out to their cost.
Eze last season found that he made a mistake at Villa, was out for a couple of months. They call it Arteta jail.
Yeah, and rightly so. You played under Brian Clough, one of the most demanding managers in English football. And when you have somebody who is that demanding, you either pick it up and play, or you don't, and you don't play. I've been talking to Stu about the Mourinho documentary that I've been watching at the moment, and his attitude is very much the same. If you do what I say, you will play for me and you will win, you will thrive. But if you're not good enough to take on board what I'm giving you, you won't. I'll move you on. Lewis Skelly is proving that even though he's under pressure, because there are other players, Calafiori with his superior fitness, and he's a taller player, he's much more physical. There are other options for Arteta. But what Lewis Skelly is saying to him is, you can sell me, but if you do, I am going to show you what you are going to be missing in terms of versatility, commitment, willingness to take on board what you're telling me, all sorts of things you will be missing if you were to move me on. I don't think he goes now.
I think a lot of these players, you find out a lot about these players with how they suffer adversity and how they spring back from that. Lewis Skelly come onto the scene. He's all singing, all dancing, fullback for his club, for his country. People are saying he's the next Kenny Sampson. He could be Arsenal's left back for 10 years. He could be England's left back for 10 years. And all of a sudden, he's suffered a little bit. The World Cup, nowhere to be seen. And all of a sudden, if I'm in his position, I'm thinking, I don't want to leave this football club, but I've got to fight my way into this first team somehow, in whatever position it may be. And the fact that I can play two positions might be a right result, and it might be that key card I need to get into the team on any given time. So,
Stu, you played in this position. How hard is it to do what he's doing?
I played left back. You can see the whole picture there. It's fantastic. To actually be able to play left back and use the knowledge you have as a midfield player as well. When you're in there with all the traffic going on, it's a different world for a left back.
Yeah.
Now, when he's used to going and playing at left back's fine, but he's using all the strengths as a midfield player at left back to drive inside. It comes natural to him, you know, to go and join that central midfield area with those driving runs. So he's utilising the good that he can do in midfield. Plus, he's got defensive nous, as we saw yesterday.
Yes.
Seeing out O'Reilly on occasion, you know, really good. And the through ball for the first goal, by the way.
Honestly,
magnificent.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, that versatility and that range that he's able to bring to the table.
Two champions meeting on Friday night as the Premier League gets underway. Arsenal take on Frank Lampard's Coventry. We've got it live and exclusive on talkSPORT. In fact, the first two Premier League games of the season are live and exclusive and only on talkSPORT. And if you don't like Arsenal, I can't think of anybody who doesn't like Arsenal. If you don't like Arsenal, it's going to be a long, hard season for you.
Cricket, what? But I know Chelsea had a deadline for Fernandes, but it looks like Rodri's obviously on his way to Spain, Barcelona. I think he's going over there today. Would they go back in? It seems common sense, and particularly after watching that yesterday, would they go back to Chelsea, do you think, City?
I think it's almost nailed on that they're going to chance their arm there. Rodri deal was agreed overnight, £65 million, which is always the magic number. As far as Manchester City are concerned, he's agreed a 4-year deal. They're going to sell to Gianni Reinders as well. Those transfer fees combined will be enough to match Chelsea's £120 million asking price for Enzo Fernandez. Now, obviously, sources telling us on Friday that the 5 o'clock deadline had passed. No written bids have been received. Therefore, Enzo Fernandez would stay a Chelsea player. I'm not convinced that was as hard a deadline as maybe it's being made out.
What about Jamie Vardy, Crookie? We're reading reports that he's had an offer from Brazil.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because Jamie Vardy still looks in top physical condition. Obviously did pretty well in his stint over in Italy. I think he'd prefer a return to English football, if I'm honest, but I wouldn't totally rule out a move to Brazil. Who knows, that might be the next chapter of the documentary that I've just started watching about his incredible career. But he's certainly got no shortage of interest. Sheffield Wednesday, his boyhood club, of chance their arm, but I think financially that's quite a difficult deal for the Owls to do.
When you think about famous F1 circuits, the likes of Silverstone, Monza, Monaco come to mind. One of these is not like the others though. Monaco is just one of a number of street circuits on the calendar, and that number's only set to rise. There's a clear difference between a traditional circuit and a street circuit. One is a purpose-built facility on private land, the other is, as it sounds, a race through the streets of a major city. Monaco is the famous example, twisting and turning through the streets of the Principality with iconic backgrounds and, let's be honest, not a lot of overtaking. But from 2026, there'll be a record 10 street circuits on the calendar. It proves that cash remains king. Each track promoter gives F1 between $20 and $60 million just for the rights to host an F1 race. And when Saudi Arabia pays upwards of 100 million, you can see why it's an attractive prospect for the sport. But is it all positive? Well, the drivers aren't that bothered. If you ask a majority of them, they'll tell you historic circuits at Silverstone, Spa, Monza, Zandvoort, they're the favourites. For the sports organisers, though, it kind of makes sense. In 2025, Monaco...
It's kickoff on talkSPORT. I'm Adrian Durham. Stuart Pearce and Darren Lewis are with me as we look ahead to the Premier League season and look back at the Community Shield. We've talked about Arsenal. Actually, I just want to give people who don't like Arsenal, and I really can't think of anybody, a little bit of a... What are you laughing at? A little bit of a positive here. It's nearly 100 years since Arsenal won the title at the end of the season that started with them winning the Shield. You like that? 1935, I think it was. So
he's so vindictive. I've stopped listening to him.
It's just a fact.
Honestly, I have.
I'm just dealing in facts here. Anyway, we'll talk about the title race if there is one a little bit later on.
Can I ask you a question at this stage? When was the last time you bought a giant Peterborough carpet? Does Darren know about this? Do you know about this?
I don't know about this.
Right, tell him.
Let me get comfortable.
Why don't I have to bring up this story now?
It's fabulous. I love it.
Right, they changed the club crest at Peterborough this summer, which means that all this stuff with the old club crest at the football ground has been sold off on auction on the club website.
Okay.
Yeah, they've changed it to Arsenal. I hope they'll do a bit better.
And I'm almost wanting them to lose every game now because you've said that. No, I'm joking. But not really. They had a massive... It's a rug, not a carpet. It's a carpet. It's a huge carpet.
It's the width for this room.
And
literally.
I bid for it and then instantly regretted the bid, but it won. So I've won the massive, gigantic rug stroke carpet, and I've got nowhere to put it. So
I was going to say, why did you bid for it?
Because it looked good, and I think I wanted it, and it's my club, and you know, it's been in the dressing room as well. So I don't drink.
I know
so it's
you
nothing
don't.
to do with drink.
I know you don't. I know. To be fair, he contacted me and said I bought a rug, a really big rug. I thought he meant a wig. You know what I mean?
Oh, hold on, that's where I can put it on top of my head.
On your bar. Won't cover it. Ain't that big?
It is thinning up there, doesn't it? Oh dear. Yes, I've got that. But I will ask you actually, very quick one. You talk about me being vindictive about Arsenal. I'm just dealing with facts. I just overheard a little conversation that was being had there off air that sounded a little bit vindictive about Arsenal. Calafiori's dive.
That was ludicrous.
That was ludicrous.
And he should get a ban, did somebody say?
Well, I certainly did. For me, if this was rugby league, in rugby league, they do retrospective bans, and they're really harsh. If you've done something on the pitch, they'll put you on report, and you'll get 2, 3, maybe even 6 game bans, you know, and they just go bang. Don't care who you are, have some of that.
Yeah.
If football really wants to stamp out some of the ills that it's got, and diving is one, I mean, for me, it was the most ludicrous dive I've ever seen, or one of them. And all they need to do now is say, you're having 2 game ban for that.
And just to back that up, I think there are some Arsenal fans that looked at that, and as much as they enjoyed their team's performance, even they would have been thinking that was needless. And actually, when a player does that to us, we will be just as annoyed as him doing that to himself and to his team. It was needless. And I think we're all, regardless of who we support within football, we're all of the same mind. We do not want to see diving like that to try and win penalties.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's the only way you stop diving in the game. And the general public in any stadium, anywhere in the country, detest that,
Yes,
I think.
yes, yeah.
And weird because Arsenal won the game comfortably and he played really well as well. Let's talk about the City side of things because they weren't particularly good. So how concerned should their fans be? I mean, they played poorly in Community Shields before, but this was a strong side Maresca put out, and I thought they would perform better than that, but I thought they were pretty abject.
It wouldn't concern me as much if Pep was still in charge. I don't think you'd have got a performance like that if he was in charge, don't get me wrong. But if he was still in charge, I'll think, well, OK, fine. You know, he's easing his way back in. Pep can regenerate a team and whatever. New manager in the house, albeit he's been at the club before. It worried me, to be fair. It really did.
Sorry, I was looking up
Peterborough United carpets?
No.
Have you put it on eBay straight away?
The auction's ended, mate. I've won it.
No, it reminded me, I'm being a bit facetious here, but, in The Office where David Brent, he sees the guy wearing the brown jacket, the brown leather jacket.
Oh, yeah.
So he goes and he tries to get one. Right? It just felt a little bit like that. Like the same team, but you cannot replicate the level of intensity that Pep Guardiola is able to get out of those players in the same way that the side that Sir Alex Ferguson won the league with, his last Man United side, it was good. It weren't great. I don't think he would have got another manager to win the league with that same side.
Yep,
and I think as far as City were concerned, there was a lot to alarm me personally about that performance. The midfield had no answer to Arsenal's power. They didn't have anywhere near as much intensity. The supply line to Erling Haaland was so very poor. They were so inferior in terms of organisation. Defensively, Arsenal looked as though they could score every time they went forward. I don't think these are problems that you're going to solve with the acquisition of Enzo Fernandez. I don't like Enzo Fernandez as a player. I think that his attitude stinks. He's very self-involved. And I think sides that are trying to build a good group don't recruit players like Enzo Fernandez. Now, all of that might seem harsh, but I think that if you look at Arsenal and all of the sides that are successful, they work incredibly hard. You know this, Stuart, on a culture. And I think that Fernandez's apparent part, I've got to be careful what I say here, but his apparent part, and certainly his body language, that was there for all to see. In, for example, the departure of Liam Rosenior in that game, in that sort of period, to me wasn't great. We all know about his activities when he was on international duty as well. There are just things about Enzo Fernandez as a player that, for me, do not provide the solutions to the problems that Manchester City have got.
Let's hear from the manager, Enzo Maresca, after yesterday's defeat in Cardiff.
I think it's for many things. As you said, we are the team with more players involved in the World Cup. Some of them just arrived 2-3 days ago. But again, when we considered the first goal, it was important to see the reaction. The reaction was there. We missed the chance to score the goal, and then we conceded the second one. But overall, now it's time to analyze the game, the mistake we have done, and to go again for next game that is important, the Premier League.
They've lost Pep Guardiola and John Stones and Rodri in the same summer. So, I mean, you don't recover from that easily.
Well, personally, I think the decision to sell... Listen, I've got to be careful what I say again, because I think Rodri wants to go. And if a player wants to go, there's nothing you can do. But the loss of Rodri, to me, is a fatal blow to their title ambitions, because there is no other player that can replicate his authority, his leadership, his ability to protect the back four, as well as inspire, act as a fulcrum, if you like, for attacks. His calm head in difficult moments, his experience. There are so many things that Rodri brings to the table that you are simply not going to get from another player, certainly not any of the players that they've got or the players that they're targeting. And I would have tried everything to get Rodri to stay. But I understand, and I live in the real world. Sometimes a player, you know this, when a player wants to go,
they got to go.
They got to go.
Yeah.
I get that, but I think there's a case to say he is Manchester City's greatest ever
player.
A Ballon d'Or winner at Manchester City is unheard of. So I think there's a great case to say he's their greatest player ever. And they've had, even in the past, there's a lot of modern football pundits even who think that Man City only existed after the takeover in 2008. Well, they had a quite rich history at the end of the 60s and 70s, and they did okay. They had a history before that, and there were some great players then.
But just to back you up, he's one of only 11 players to have won. I did some research before, to have won the World Cup, the Champions League, and the Ballon d'Or in their career. And he's the only player to have won the World Cup, the Club World Cup, European Championship, Nations League, Champions League, and the Best Player Award of each tournament.
Well, I think you can say he's the greatest City player ever then.
Yeah. I've got to back up exactly what's been said there, and I get that as well. And I've got to throw the name of Bernardo Silva into the mix as well. When you talk about Declan Rice playing the minutes that he does, I don't know how many minutes Bernardo Silva played last season.
It felt like a lot.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't do as much research. I sort of make it up as I go along, Darren. You'll work that out.
I doubt that.
But he, for me, played all the minutes, run probably further than any Manchester City player. You know, he is going to be an enormous loss for the football, as well as Rodri if he goes out the door.
Yeah.
A quick one on Donnarumma, who I actually think is fairly average. Havertz didn't really score. That, to me, was a Donnarumma own goal. Odegaard's goal looks like a bit of genius, and I'm not taking it away from Odegaard, but, I mean, he just sits down. It was like having me in goal. I think his distribution is abysmal. Meantime, James Trafford has gone off to Leeds for 40 million. I don't know if you saw in the friendly at the weekend, but he was playing like Beckenbauer with the ball at his feet. He was phenomenal. And that is my theory on last season. I reckon if Pep had kept his nerve and gone with Trafford instead of Donnarumma, then City would have won the title. I also think that had he gone with Trafford, Trafford would have been England's number one for the World Cup, and the equaliser against Argentina wouldn't have been scored. Nobody can prove me wrong. It's all hypothetical, but I don't think Donnarumma is as good as people generally think he is. I mean, he's had some great games. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I'm looking at him yesterday thinking, a City fan's going to have another season of him in that kind of form.
I'm going to take issue with you. And I know you love it when I do.
Yeah.
But I just think that I think at City right now, I look at the team and the entire team's performance suggests to me that all is not well, that morale isn't great. This is garbage about, so that's too strong a word, but I would politely disagree with this idea that the players have just come back. Arsenal had loads of players at the World Cup. There are lots of teams around European football who have had a huge number of players at the World Cup, but their attitudes on their return are all on point. They're all where they should be. Now, I think as far as City are concerned, his performance yesterday was symptomatic of something that we will probably only get to kind of learn more about as the months go on. But in terms of his quality, I think he showed that in that Champions League winning campaign for PSG. And I think the really good goalkeepers, when the battle starts, you kind of see their quality. You see how imposing they are. You see how they command their back fours. You played in a defence in front of a number of goalkeepers who were terrific. So I'll defer to you. But I think for my money, Trafford is a good player. And I do agree with what you said about had he played for City, he would have gone to the World Cup. And I think there is a long-term world where he does replace Pickford as England's number one. But I think Donnarumma is still a super goalkeeper. And if he were not, for example, to stay there and go to a team where there is stability, your word early on, I think he would be a serious acquisition.
We'll talk about the title race next on talkSPORT.
Joe, very satisfying. Bit of a statement. Just remember, it's only a glorified friendly.
First of all, I want to say a big good morning to the talkSPORT listeners. It's a fantastic Monday morning, isn't it? It is for sure. Listen, guys, Jeff, Ali, who's going to beat us this season? You tell me. Who is going to take over in the city of London? Who?
On that evidence, nobody.
Nobody.
Right. But
Chelsea.
I think Chelsea.
It's premature, Jeff. It's premature.
Well, it's premature. You're saying who's going to beat
not.
us?
We've won the trophy available to win.
Yeah,
we've done it.
It's difficult for you guys not to get carried away after that, but at the same time, I wouldn't be overly worried about Manchester City's performance. Although, with the golf in that particular game, I would be slightly concerned.
Ali, I have to add, it is time to get excited. It's time to get super excited because I don't think there's a time in the league where it's been more open for us to dominate. I mean, if you look at Liverpool, Areola, we don't know what he's going to do. You're talking about Alonso. We're raving about a manager. And you've seen the ins and outs of Chelsea. It's not even stable there yet. I've just seen recently that Nicholas Jackson, who's been one of their best players in the pre-season, he's in the bomb squad with Liam Delap. No. You turn around, you look at Man City, it's looking shaky. You look at Aston Villa. There's no point you getting me in the morning with Gabby anymore. There's no point. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing, Gabby. I'm not going to see you again, mate. We're that far gone.
So it feels like we've answered this question already, but the question I'm going to throw to Stuart Pearce and Darren Lewis is, are Arsenal set to retain the league once again? I guess the way to ask it is, are there actually any serious contenders that are going to get anywhere near them, Stuart?
Firstly, I think too many of the other contenders, let's say, have got question marks above them. And that's mainly new managers coming through the door. So I'm maybe it's wrong of me, but I'm seeing new managers through the door, taking time to settle in and get what they want from their teams as a negative. That might be a positive. Who knows? You know what I mean? A fresh manager through the door, that uplift. If it's mid-season, we'll say, oh, there's going to be an uplift on results. So why can't that be the case now? But for me, last season, I had a bet with Jim, albeit I'm very tight and don't give money away. So
Jim Proudfoot.
Yeah, Jim Proudfoot. So we had the bet, and the bet was a bowl of profiteroles. We both like our food. I'm still yet to pay him, actually, so I need to get round to that. I said to him, and this was pre the game when Arsenal lost to Manchester City. It's going back to January.
Yep.
I said Arsenal will win the league by 10 clear points. And he looked at me as though I was an absolute idiot. And he said, no chance Man City will win the league. I said, well, we'll see. We'll see. And in the end, we had a bet. 7 points they won the league by.
Wow.
And I won't tell you who I think will win the league because we got that later in the programme.
Okay. Well, you could tell us who you think will win the league. The bold prediction is part of how they might win the league.
I think, for me, Arsenal... It was its attitude after climbing Everest. What's your attitude like? And I saw 90 minutes worth of supreme attitude and mentality from them. And that said to me, they're coming after everybody else again.
Darren, you agree?
I totally agree. I think I can't see a weakness, not just in terms of personnel, but in terms of attitude, in terms of desire, in terms of squad depth as well. There is so much about them that gives you the confidence that, and I think the key thing is the stability, because you don't know what the other teams are going to bring to the table. They've still yet to conclude their business in the summer transfer window as well. Whereas Arsenal, if the season if you had a cut-off now, Arsenal's squad would be outstanding.
Can I ask you a question? Were you surprised that Dalman didn't get on the pitch yesterday?
No. Only because I think, to Adrian's point right at the start of the show, was it just a pre-season friendly, or does Arteta start as he means to go on? And I think he started as he means to go on. He wants to take it seriously. He wants that culture of winning right from the kickoff. And I think There will be moments where Dalman does come into the mix, but I don't think that now is the time. I think they want to start that momentum again and introduce him into that sort of winning culture that they build up.
Yeah, I look at listen, I think Arsenal will be the best team in the league. I think they're going to win the league. But when I look at contenders, who could get near them, I don't see anybody, because Chelsea, are they really going from 10th to 1st? I cannot see that at all. No Europe's a positive for them, I guess, but they've got the front three is great. Palmer, Pedro, Morgan Rogers, fantastic. Arguably the best in the Premier League. Back three, if they do play a three, not so great. Fofana, Lacroix and Colwell. Still got Sanchez in goal, possibly. Liverpool finished 25 points worse off than Arsenal last season. They've lost Salah. I don't think they're going to make that up. Man United, I mean, I'd love to know if any Man United fan can make a case for Manchester United winning the title, because I can't hear that at all. City, are they going to get better after Pep's departure? We've gone through the players that they've lost. Bernardo Silva's a big one. John Stones' leadership, didn't play much last year, but his leadership, I think, will be missed as well. And Rodri leaving, even though he's been injured. They haven't won the title while he's been injured. So I think that those are big losses for them on the pitch. And, of course, Pep has gone as well. Villa have lost Morgan Rogers. Can't really see them winning the title anyway. Spurs, lads, it's Tottenham. There's no...
You can't apply that to them anymore.
I can, and I will.
And he has.
As Jason Cundy on the Sports Bar says, they are managed by Roberto De Spurzi. They have Mickey can't defend in the back line. It's Tottenham. They just... Are you telling me Tottenham will win the title?
No.
Right, okay then. Thanks. Lads, it's Tottenham. So
but I'm just saying you can't apply that to this Tottenham. We don't know what this Tottenham will be.
Yeah, but you just know, don't you? Come on, we all know about Tottenham, don't we?
Yeah, no.
When it comes to the seriousness of it all...
We don't. That's what makes this season so exciting.
What's going to happen to Tottenham?
Well, they haven't finished their transfer business yet.
Okay, when they finish the transfer business, what's going to happen to Tottenham?
I think if you spend £250 million like they have done, right, you've got to be talking about the top four. You've got to. Anything else other than the top four, and he's under pressure. And I know that's a lot to say. I did a fans forum the other day, and I said exactly that. Sorry, it was a fans podcast the other day, and I said the same thing. That they are grown up enough now to not patronise him with, top six will be okay. When you're spending the kind of money they have done, you're breaking the wage bill as they have done, you're bringing in the level of player they have, and, you know, when we talk about the price tags, some of them are wildly overpriced, but the intention is there. So you've got to be talking about top four.
We are going to be talking about and predicting our Premier League top 7, how they'll finish in the last hour of the show. Next up, Stuart Pearce, Darren Lewis and myself, Adrian Durham, will go through our bold predictions, our bordering on the outrageous predictions for the new Premier League season ahead.
Another one or two players in Man United in with a shout at the title. What do you think, Gabby?
No, I think Champions League will take a lot out of that squad of players. I look at right backs, Mazraoui, Dalot, not good enough. Centre backs, they need cover there as well. Shesko, listen, he done okay last season, double figures. He's got to be at it this season. They've got a very good squad of players, Jeff, but if they don't get 2 or 3 top players in certain roles, I don't think they can fight for the title. I think top 4 again and get out of the group stage of the Champions League will be a very good season.
Yeah, I mean, they've not been too busy in the transfer market, to say the least. They've brought in Yuri Tielemans, they've brought in Andre Santos. Ben Foster thinks one of those is the signing of the summer.
I still think Yuri Tielemans is the signing so far.
What a better business that is.
What a bit of business.
Yeah.
Honestly, I genuinely still think, I'm watching a load of transfers happen and, you know, Tottenham spending a lot of money and Arsenal just spent a lot of money. I still think Yuri Tielemans is the signing of the summer so far. For 30-odd million quid, whatever it was, he is a ready-made, good-to-go starting 11 player. And I think if you can spend £30 million on a ready-to-go starter, it is worth every single penny.
Yeah. And I agree with him. I think Yuri Tielemans is going to be one of the signings of the summer. But when I look at that midfield, talent as it is, Tielemans and Bruno Meno and Andre Santos, you know, that's just too thin on the ground, isn't it? They need more than that.
You know, players get injured as well, and where's their real defensive midfielder? I know Andre Santos has been brought in for that role, but he didn't pull up any trees at Chelsea, did he? Where's their, like, Villa got Bouba Kamara, you look at Anderson, Gravenberch.
Corinthian Casuals are a team in the Combined Counties League Premier Division South. Despite that, they're one of the most important clubs in world football. Here's why. The club was formed in 1939 as the result of a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, a man called Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian Casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3, you'll most likely bump into Brazilian Corinthians fans who often make the pilgrimage across the globe just to watch their founding team play.
It's Monday night kickoff on talkSPORT on the eve of the Premier League season, and we've got some outrageous opinions and bold predictions coming up on talkSPORT 2 right now. It is Cardiff against Wrexham, and Wrexham have just taken the lead through Kiefer Moore. I tell you what, it's a brilliant... He's just onside. And Stuart Pearce, that's a superb finish, isn't it?
It's a great finish. As I say, one of the Cardiff defenders just playing him onside, really tight angle, and he's just almost did it with the inside of his foot, I think. Just having a look at that again. Yeah, he's guided it past Trotsky, the goalie. I mean, it's almost like an ice pick, weren't it, going through the back? Back of the defence for those who know their history.
And those who know their stranglers. Nathan Trott is the goalkeeper who you work with at West Ham?
Yeah, smashing kid, really smash. But what a start for Wrexham.
Not bad at all. Actually, a quick question, Darren Lewis, does it qualify as a derby? Because they're 147 miles apart.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say
just because they're in the same country.
They
so
will
literally
treat it
every game in England is a derby.
Yeah, we call listen, every game.
What, Newcastle Southampton's a derby? Because
no,
the
but
same
they
country.
will treat it as such, won't they?
Sorry.
So, can we determine how they should think about whether or not that is a derby?
I genuinely don't know if they see that as a derby.
I would see that as a derby.
To be fair, Swansea to Cardiff's a fair trek as well.
Yeah. It is, but they're both in the same part of Wales. South Wales.
Both in the same country.
Thank you.
They're in the south of the same country.
Yeah.
We've got some outrageous and bold opinions that we're going to be reminded of as the season goes on. No doubt about it. How many have you got, Stuart? Have you got
I've
more than one?
I've got enough for you to have.
Oh, good. Darren, have you got a lot, or are you?
I've not got that. I've got.
Were you about to say 3?
I've got 3.
That's fine. No, that's actually more than I thought you'd have. I thought you'd bottle it and not have many at all, so you avoided the criticism. We've just been talking about Spurs.
Yeah.
So can I start with a Spurs prediction?
Okay. Yeah.
Did you want to take the floor first,
Right.
or have you got a Spurs prediction?
Yes, I have.
Okay, go for it.
Right. Looking at Spurs' fixtures, having between now and December the 5th, they've got, in my opinion, 3 teams that I think might finish in the top half of the league, in Villa, Chelsea and Man United. Aside from that, they've not got anybody in their fixture schedule. I think they've got a really good start of the season fixture if they start well. So I'm going to say, if they get the points on the table nice and early before they play Arsenal on December the 5th, they'll finish in the top 6. If they don't get those points on the table, they'll finish in the bottom 6.
What were those 3 teams they've got before Arsenal that you mentioned?
Aston Villa,
Yeah.
who are probably not playing, they've lost Rodgers
that's
and
fine.
whatever.
Totally.
Chelsea, you don't know what you're going to get from them, and Man United.
Nice.
They're the 3.
What an easy run that is.
Yeah.
They're going to be top by the time they play Arsenal.
Unless they go all Spursy on you again.
Here's the thing, right? And I say, lads, it's Tottenham in respect of. I think. So what's your prediction there?
I'm saying, unless they get the points on the board by December the 5th, have a look for them, because the fixtures are going to pile up after that from there to the end of the season.
Okay, that's intriguing. So you're looking at it in a very negative way.
Well, and a positive way. So if they do get the points, I think they'll finish in the top 6.
Okay.
If they get they've got to put the points on the table. So I would say on the 4th of December, have a look at the league table. If Tottenham are not in the top 8 at that stage, the alarm bells would be ringing for me if I was a Tottenham fan. That's the best
top
way.
8.
Top 8. Got to be in the top 8.
I would say that's a bare minimum with that fixture run, surely. I mean, surely they've got to be finished.
Well, I'm giving them a little bit of tolerance.
Oh, you are, aren't you?
Yeah,
You're being
I am.
very kind
Yes,
there.
I am.
I think that run, I didn't realise the run was that straightforward, if you like, for Tottenham. And then they will lose games, presumably, in that run. They won't win all those games, but they should amass a fairly decent number of points, you would think, given the spend that they've had. What was the spend, Darren Lewis, Spurs?
Over £250,000.
Incredible.
I mean, Tonali on his own costs £100 million.
Right, okay.
And we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, okay. So you've got a Spurs.
No, I haven't got a Spurs one.
You're talking. Yeah, I got you.
I'm going to say...
about transfer fees, yeah.
No. I'm going to say that my outrageous prediction, no Chelsea, no City in a top 4 for the first time in 10 years.
No City? No Manchester City in the top 4? Wow. I love this. Is a bold prediction.
Oh, no, I don't say that to be in any way disrespectful, but 2 things. Sunday worried me a lot. Listen, one team in the last 15 years has won the Community Shield and gone on to win the title. That was Man City in 2019.
Right.
So I'm not carried away by the result as such. Yeah. I just think that the loss of Rodri really worries me for them. I think that the weakness of that midfield suddenly, that alarmed me as well. Elliot Anderson is a good player, but I don't buy into the hype around him. I think it's been a lot. And, you know, he's a decent player, but I don't see him as a £116 million player. And I think there is just a real concern around the body language I saw within that City side. They may well start okay, and they may well get results here and there. They've got an outstanding striker, but at the back, every time Arsenal went forward, they looked as though they would score. And I just think that disorganisation at the back, it worries me a lot.
Are you not a believer in Enzo Maresca?
No.
I'm struggling to see, and listen, anybody might struggle after Pep, Stuart, but given Enzo Maresca and what happened so Leicester fans, yeah, they won the title comfortably. Leicester fans weren't particularly, they're never happy, Leicester fans. But at Chelsea, I think that he was so negative in his approach to the management of the club, as in saying we are not title contenders when they were near the top of the table. And everybody said, oh, he's proved right. Well, maybe it was a self-fulfilling prophecy, and had he been more positive, it might have transmitted to the players. Who knows what they could have achieved? We'll never know now. So I just think there should be some serious questions, but it's always going to be tough to follow Pep Guardiola, I guess. But I'm struggling to see Enzo Maresca as that man to follow him successfully.
Yeah, I'm of that opinion.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what's to come, but I'm going to dovetail your prediction of those two finishing in the top 4.
City and Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm going to turn around and tell you who will finish in the top 6 that will take their place. Brentford and Brighton.
Oh,
love that.
They will finish in the top 6, those two.
Why do you say that? Is there a specific reason? Just building on what happened last season?
Brentford have not lost any of their players. And Thiago, having scored second top scorer in the division last year, still at Brentford, which has astounded me a little bit, with everyone clamouring for a goal scorer.
Really good shout. Yeah.
He stayed at the club. Sade improved. His first season is a little bit hit and miss. I think they kept the
I knew he'd do that.
Sorry, I know. I knew it was out there as well. I think they've kept the nucleus. Keith Andrews, for me, was the manager of the year last year. I thought he was outstanding. I really did.
Agree with that.
For his first year in football management, he'll learn a lot from last year. And I tell you what to look out for. First game of the season, Brentford-Tottenham.
Yes.
Ooh. If my predictions hinge, Spurs getting beat at Brentford or Spurs going to Brentford and getting a victory. Let's have a little look at that result.
Nicely together there.
Yeah, indeed.
Brentford scored 7 at the weekend in a friendly. So there's goals in them for sure. I've got a kind of Man United-based outrageous opinion to kick off with, and that is that Spurs will finish above Manchester United. And Leeds will finish above Manchester United.
So hang on a minute. For all your kind of negativity about Spurs, you still think that they'll...
All I said was they won't win the title. No, I'm more negative about Manchester United. I mean, I'm kind of wondering what's going on there defensively for a start. I really want... Everybody who listens to talkSPORT and has done for some time knows I'm a massive Michael Carrick fan as a player and as a manager as well. But, I mean, they had 40 games last season, and you could easily argue they underachieved when they had the Player of the Year, in inverted commas. So how are they going to cope with more games, expected to go deep in more competitions, not expected to go out early in the Champions League? So I'm struggling to see them perform to the levels in the Premier League they did last season. I think Leeds are a bit of a rogue one. Spurs are a rogue one, bearing in mind where they finished last season. But that's an outrageous, bold opinion. Spurs and Leeds to both finish above Manchester
The only
United.
thing that might skewer what you're saying, and I don't necessarily disagree, but Cunha didn't have that many starts last season, went into double figures. I think he scored 11 goals. And Mbeumo, I think, will be better for having a full season at the football club as well. I think there is a lot of orchestrated PR around Bruno Fernandes in this position that he's not for sale at any price. You know, I think all of that is designed to really make him feel good, because I remember last season where he talked about being really disappointed that the club were prepared to listen to offers for him when they weren't kind of realising you've got to put an arm around his shoulder. He's very much a confidence player in that regard. Defensively, I'm worried for them because they've never looked secure defensively. I do think under Michael Carrick, you know, he qualified for the Champions League with games to spare. And that to me said that he's stepped up, gone back home, if you like, and he's reintroduced the ethos, the culture we've been talking about, that has really, the players seemed instantly to enjoy it. And again, I defer to you with that because you will know more about why that is the case.
I would throw in the mix. I'd take your culture that Michael knows and the club and put alongside that Steve Holland's tactical nous. So I think it's a great pairing. I really do. I think Steve played a massive part in Gareth and what Gareth's done in elevating England. And I think to have Steve Holland alongside Michael is really good. Michael knows the culture of the club. Steve Holland's a good coach.
We've got loads more outrageous opinions to come. And you may want to take issue with them, you may not. Over on talkSPORT 2, Wrexham lead at Cardiff 1-0 after 14 and a half minutes. That's live on talkSPORT 2, as I say. More bold opinions coming next on talkSPORT.
Gabby Bungler joined myself and Drive on Monday. I asked him if he thought Arsenal are to win the league.
Yeah, I do, yeah. I think it's done, mate.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you think it's over?
Yeah, it's over, mate.
Really?
Yeah. That's strong, man. They went and brought in Guimaraes as well, mate. Come on.
Yeah, I hear you, all right, and I probably don't want to admit it yet.
Yeah.
We ain't even kicked a ball.
I know,
They're the only settled football club in the league.
Exactly.
Right? That's what they've got going for it. What do you make of that? Do you feel like look, you're an Arsenal fan? They had a great season last season.
Yeah.
Are they're the team to beat?
I think of course they're the Premier League champions. They're the favourites, but I wouldn't sit here today, no chance, and say, it's ours easy. No way whatsoever, because there's so many factors last season. I mean, Arsenal finally got over the line. They played a productive way that maybe for some people, I didn't actually mind it. I quite enjoyed watching it, but there were some people that said that they stunk the place out in terms of the way that they played the game, but they did what they needed to get over the line.
They did stink the place out.
Well, no, you didn't.
Well, they did.
How?
Well, they stunk the Premier League out.
You can't stink it out and win it.
No, you can.
No, you can stink it out and finish fourth bottom. Hey, I'll tell you that. You can do that.
You did stink it out. No, like you brought the level of fun down in the Premier League.
For a Gooner, it wasn't.
Oh, come on. It was turgid, some of the football.
Listen, I loved it, right?
Did you really? You'd hate to play in that team.
No, I wouldn't. What, Premier League winners medal? I wouldn't.
You want to see a bit more exciting football.
People say this.
Like, come on, you've won it now. Arteta's won it. Play a bit more exciting stuff.
People say that, right? Arsenal still scored 71 goals in the league last year. Only Man City scored more.
It's talkSPORT. It's Monday night kickoff. Normally during the Premier League season when there's live football in the Premier League, we will have that on a Monday night. When there isn't, it should be me, Danny Murphy, Darren Lewis with your 7 till 10 Danny Murphy is, I don't know, some luxury place in the Maldives or something. I don't know. Stuart Pearce is here. What? I mean, it's not even a sub, is it?
I don't know. It's not. It is like an all-star replacement that you think, well, hang on, why wasn't he starting in?
More to the point, why wasn't I in the Maldives with him?
Actually, got a great message from Will in Reading. Says, can Stuart Pearce possibly make a prediction as bad as the only one red card for the whole World Cup prediction?
That was a really bad prediction. Looking back now. Also, our goal prediction as well. I predicted there'd be 483 goals in the World Cup. You know, but Cape Verde defended very well. In my defence.
That's brilliant. There were some bold predictions at the World Cup that didn't come off.
Mate, there was 3 red cards in the first game. Blew that out of the water. I was hoping still now that a few, well, probably about 24 will get rescinded.
You're hoping for 14 rescinded red cards. 1-0 to Wrexham at Cardiff in the Championship. That's live on talkSPORT 2 right now. We're going through some outrageous, bold opinions for the Premier League season. Actually, not all of them are Premier League. I've got 2 actually that are not Premier League, but if you want to hold them against us for the whole season, we don't care.
Can I give you my second one?
Go on, go for it.
I think Villa's teenage striker, Brian Maggio, will be the Young Player of the Year.
How unbelievably good was he in the Super Cup?
Absolutely awesome. I honestly, probably... I have to be careful because I know you guys love clipping stuff up, so I've got to be careful what I say here. But
just say it.
I just think that everyone will talk about his physicality, right? But you guys know, and everyone listening knows, there are lots of good physical players in the Premier League, right? It's his game intelligence, his awareness, his composure in the box. He grew into the game against a team of the calibre of PSG. He's up against Pacho, who's no mean defender, and he was able to outmaneuver him, outwit him to a point where he was able to create the conditions for himself to score. And I think that all of those things are the reason why there is so much excitement about him. I think it's way too easy to think about him as a physical player.
Yeah.
I think that when you see the confidence that he arrives with, and his backstory, I'm sure you both know the backstory, right? He was playing for Metz as a 16-year-old. He was playing for the Luxembourg under-17s, and then England poached him and put him in.
He was born in England, by the way.
He was born in Enfield,
yeah.
Just up the road from where I live. And there is a huge buzz around him, but when you see him play, you understand why.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that there was a little flick he did on the halfway line to send his fellow teenager Hemmings away. And that was really smart. The awareness there. His movement, I think, was phenomenal. He could have had a hat-trick. And one thing that really impressed me was he'd missed a couple of headers.
Yes.
But still had that same mentality, that strength of mind to do what he did for the goal. Pacho's not even looking at the ball for the goal that he scored. Maggio. It's a sensational finish because he watches the ball all the way. Pacho's looking at Maggio, can't do anything about it, and it's a great volley into the roof of the net.
And a big part of the question: where do you think Villa are going to finish generically? Then
it's a good question. And I just on Maggio, first of all, I think that Ollie Watkins might have something to say about that. I wonder how much game time he'll get. And will that stop him being the Young Player of the Year? That will be my only thing.
It's a good point. But
it'd be a shame if it does.
Actually, Watkins is part of the reason why I think he will be Young Player of the Year, because I think if you think about Watkins when he was at Brentford, he was good. But what Emery did with him was basically get him to really play within the 18-yard box, and he increased his output exponentially. And he put Ollie Watkins into the England picture because of the consistency that Watkins played with and the belief that he gave Watkins that he could score good goals against big clubs. And obviously Watkins went on to score in the European Championship semi-final against the Netherlands. And I think that Emery will do a similar job with Maggio in terms of giving him that belief, honing his game so that he's most effective in the penalty box. And this, again, help. Obviously, the physicality will help, but enabling him to use all the other tools at his disposal. And I think Maggio will be a part of Villa finishing third.
Okay, I'm not going to answer your question, and you're not going to answer it either, because we're doing top 7 predictions after 9, and Villa might be in those. They might not.
Okay, I'm going to throw another one out here. Are any of us surprised with all the the so-called bigger teams in the country changing their managers. Are any of us surprised that Unai Emery has not been touted by Liverpool, by Chelsea, by so-and-so? Are you surprised he's still at Villa?
A little bit, yeah.
Yes,
but I think that there's a belief, a strong belief. I don't know if you've read Guillaume Balaguer's book about Aston Villa. He's close to Unai Emery. He speaks about Unai Emery's role at Aston Villa, and it feels like unless something goes spectacularly wrong, that Unai Emery is very much attached to what's going on at Villa, and he wants to see that job through. So, yes, they've had issues with PSR. Morgan Rogers had to be sold, but they've signed players as well this summer.
And just to add to that, he works hand in glove with Damien Vidagani there. And I don't think that the relationship they have and the control that Emery has, I'm not sure he would have that at one of the other clubs where there are so many other people who are involved in the decision making. Again, in the Mourinho documentary, when he talks about the season where he ended up leaving, he says that initially when we were signing players, it was me, Peter Kenyon and Roman Abramovich. And then suddenly there were other people coming into the mix who weren't necessarily football people. And that diluted the decision making and resulted in players coming that he did not necessarily want. And I think that can sometimes be a feature of the big clubs, but it's certainly not at Villa. He does have that control.
I think that's the key, isn't it? And if that changes, then things might change. But I think he's quite happy where he is. Listen, we're going to have to rattle through some more bold opinions. I'm going to give you the next one. And it's linked in with Majo. We're talking, and actually in the summer, you might remember, Stu, we had a conversation, I think on one of the podcasts that we did at the World Cup, about who long-term replaces Harry Kane. Majo would be in that conversation. At the time, I said Will Lancashire of Spurs would have a really good chance of doing it. I couldn't say it with any great conviction. I still can't say it with any great conviction, but if the trajectory continues, I think he will. He hadn't made the move to Middlesbrough at that point. He's gone to Middlesbrough, he scored 3 in 2, really good finishes. He seems like a good lad. I actually think he'll become the first outfield player, I think for 15 years, I think I'm right in saying, to be capped by England while playing in the Championship this season. Because there's maybe a lack of strikers. He's got about 4 years on Majo, which might help. He'll be playing week in, week out. Yep. But I actually think he could become the first player for 15 years to be capped by England while playing in the Championship.
Yeah, I think if you're England especially, you've got to look and say, say England were a club side, you would have to be thinking as a manager, who's going to take over from Harry Kane?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you're going to have to see who's in the feeder squads below, who's got the opportunity to come through and who needs the experience on the pitch to play maybe in the same squads as Harry Kane, but you need someone to take over from him because he's been so integral to England over time.
Well, I'll follow up the Lancashire thing. He's saying he's playing for Borough. I think Borough will be going up automatically. And here's another bold prediction. West Ham won't go up automatically. Literally everybody's saying they will. I don't think they will. They've got Jarrod Bowen and he's great.
Yeah.
But I'm looking elsewhere and thinking, oof, I'm not sure. I think there's an attitude thing as well. And what's your attitude like when you've gone down? Scott Minto talked about this a lot at the Carabao Cup game where I was out with him and West Ham beat Portsmouth. Is the attitude absolutely spot on from all those players who still might think they're Premier League players? I suspect Jarrod Bowen's attitude is correct. You work with him.
Jared would be.
Yeah.
And I noticed in his team lineup as well, there's a couple of youngsters he put in the team as well. Didn't he? Orford, I think, played in midfield, and Scholes.
Well, Scholes was up for the penalty, wasn't he?
That's right, yeah. So it's a tough place to play, West Ham, if things are not going right. So if they're cruising the league, it'll be a massive benefit, the Olympic Stadium. If they're not cruising the league, they'll be under the pump a little bit and they'll feel the pressure that's coming from the terraces because they want them to do so well. The amount of people that renewed season tickets at West Ham is just absolutely incredible.
And none of the relegated 3 won. Admittedly, 2 were playing each other, but none of them won. They all drew 2-2. Any other bold predictions you want to get off your chests? Anybody else?
Isak to win the Golden Boot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, Isak, that is a bold. You're coming out with them tonight.
Well, listen, normally it's Haaland, and in a City side that's firing, you'd have no hesitation whatsoever about nominating Haaland. His record is so good. He's a generational talent. But again, City I'll be very interested to see how they start first 6 games because they don't look at it at the moment.
I'm so glad that he's turned round and said Golden Boot because That was on my list here.
Oh, was it?
And here it comes. João Pedro.
You see? Oh, someone else who doesn't think. And João Pedro had a good season last season. He could build on, and that was his first season.
Yeah, I think he got 14, 15 for them.
Good player, isn't he?
I wonder who's going to rival him to take his place at the sharp end of the team. I'm not sure they've got anybody. And you've got Rodgers and Palmer to supply him as well.
Yeah.
I quite like the look of that.
It's a bold shout. Why? I know you're making outrageous opinions, bold shouts, but things you believe in clearly. Do you think there'll be a drop off with City? We're saying obviously, but a drop off with Haaland as well.
No, not with Haaland. I still think that Haaland, his productivity will be good. His attitude looks good. You could see that how frustrated he was yesterday in the Community Shield, and there were moments in the game where I just wasn't looking at the action. I was just watching him, and you could see he was really frustrated with the lack of supply that he was getting. Normally his attitude's very good. He can not have the ball for 10, 15 minutes, and still when you give it to me creates those chances, scores goals. So we know how good he is. But I just look at that side side just looks so dysfunctional, and I don't know what the solution is. So I just think it might. I don't say it with lots of conviction. I'm just saying it might, because you've asked for an outrageous take.
No.
And if there were to be another Golden Boot winner, I think it could be Isak.
One final one from me. Jordan Pickford won't be England's number one by the end of the season.
That's not outrageous.
Jordan Pickford. Do you know how long he's been England's number one?
Exactly. That's not outrageous.
Well, he's not too old, is he?
Well, you would any side, any nation that had a goalkeeper for that long, has to be looking at alternatives. You'd be negligent if you were not looking at alternatives to the goalkeeper.
So who do you think will take his place?
Trafford.
Yeah, me too. Do you think that's not outrageous?
No.
Jordan Pickford's been the undisputed number one.
And what have we won in
years.
that time?
Nothing, but we've done,
so no one's
with him in
position.
goal, we've done way better than we did before. For years before. He's been part of that Gareth Southgate 2018 onwards thing.
Listen, in the winnings, we're sitting next to a legend here, so I can't say too much.
Yeah, but what about Stuart?
I'm just a buffer between you two legendary figures. That's how it works. I don't think that's an outrageous statement.
Okay.
It's not an outrageous statement.
I thought that was the most outrageous one of the four.
It would have been outrageous if Trafford was still at Manchester City.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't get game time.
Correct.
And he was outstanding, I thought, when he come into Manchester City's team for the bit parts that he did. I thought he played extremely well. He's going to put a lot of pressure on him. It's not outrageous.
We want your predictable, unoutrageous opinions, and I've just given you one there, apparently. talkSPORT 2 right now, Cardiff 0, Wrexham 1. This is Kickoff on talkSPORT.
In the traditional thought process of who's going to challenge Arsenal, they're all in a form of transition. They're all in. Liverpool have got to rebuild.
So you telling me Arsenal will win it again?
Well, you would think that there's a distinct possibility, as Martin rightly says, nothing is easy, and neither should it be, and neither should we hope it is.
Sure.
Right? But Arsenal are in the box seat.
Yeah.
And I don't want the narrative to be seedy because he'll start crying about it. But the fact is that you don't want them to still defeat from the jaws of victory, because it is theirs to win.
Sure.
They're the defending champions. They're in
No,
good
let's
nick.
not get into that. Let's not get into that kind of talk.
They're in good nick.
That
We'll get to some talk with some
narrative
Arsenal
talk
fans
was
very
there.
shortly,
The
Martin.
narrative talk last
I wanna
season.
put this to you.
Four games in last year, we're saying Arsenal had blown it. Yeah. Like, let's not get into all of that. It's theirs to blow. No. They can enjoy now. There's a new armory.
Who said that?
This is a tough. They are winners, Jim. You cannot dispute that this season.
Well, they are. But let me ask you this before we hit the 10:30 break. Arteta's next evolution are the narratives of boring Arsenal and set piece FC now being wiped aside.
Well, I'm not sure they were there anyway. Because Arsenal, look, as I say, I didn't care if their winning goal came off
was a strong narrative
the backside
last
of
season. You know
Gabriel
that.
or not. 25 goals from set pieces. Look, whatever way they found to, they'll be doing all of that again this year. It's every facet of their play. They'll try and pass the ball. Look how well they passed the ball yesterday when they went 2 or 3 goals up. The handbrake came off yesterday, and they got players in the final third.
Well,
that's the next step.
Do you envisage a style change this season?
Well, I think it's a dominance check, really. They were allowed to play football yesterday. This is what you're up against, isn't it? But no, I mean, the manager wants to go to the next step. That is to control games more.
Right, we're going to talk a bit of Championship. That West Brom handball goal. I think I've got the solution for that, and Martin Keown's completely wrong. We'll talk about that in a second, because I think it affects pretty much every football fan. But Cardiff 0, Wrexham 1 is live on talkSPORT 2. Let's listen in with Adrian Clark and Nigel Adley.
It's a big miss. By Kiefer Moore's standards, it has to go in. The corner kick has loads of whip on it, and Kiefer Moore makes a brilliant run. He just turns his back on it. It ends up being a back header from the big man, and it grazes the top of the crossbar. Should be 2-0.
And we welcome listeners from talkSPORT. It's 1-0 to Wrexham. Kiefer Moore did score. An outstanding finish, lofted high over Nathan Trott from wide on the right-hand side in the 3rd minute. Trott also made a fine save to keep out Callum Doyle as Cardiff try and come forward now. And G's crossing from the right-hand side, looking for Yusuf Saleh, gathered by Anthony Patterson and Adrian Clark. For the benefit of our newer listeners, just give us an appreciation of the game so far.
Yeah, it's been full-blooded, as you'd expect. Wrexham started the game like a train. You know, wonderful goal from Kiefer Moore into the top corner, and they were completely dominant. The midfield three of Wrexham has bossed the game, but with the lead, Cardiff City have obviously had to chase things, and they've grown in confidence, but really haven't created enough so far to cause Wrexham problems. I think, you know, the visitors deservedly 1-0 up.
Well, they've just had a bit more classic key areas so far. Kiefer Moore scoring his 7th goal in 7 games against Cardiff, and 6 of them have come here. As James plays a long ball forward, looking for Imre. Imre's away from the challenge of Scanlon, hits it low, and Trott makes an excellent save to tip it behind for a corner.
Wow. Well, Danny Imre from right wing back, he's quick, and he takes up a centre forward position there. And they go long, they go from back to front really quickly, and they catch a high line off guard, and he's in. And I think he can take the ball on a bit closer here. He shoots from outside the box, takes a little nick, and it's out for a corner.
Commentary continues on talkSPORT 2. 37 minutes played. Cardiff 0, Wrexham 1.
Nigel Adley and Adrian Clark on commentary duty there. I like Imre's a good player. I'm surprised Palace let him go to Wrexham, to be honest. But there you go. Let's stay in the Championship because West Brom made the breakthrough. It was 0-0 when the ball at the back of the net. It came off Hegebo's arms or hands. Jimmy J. Morgan with the cross. I think the keeper gets a slight hand to it, and it flips up into it's a handball basically and goes into the back of the net. You heard Martin Keown earlier on talkSPORT saying this is a reason why we need VAR in the Championship. I think I've got the answer, but let's first of all hear from the Norwich manager. Obviously Norwich suffered because of it and then ended up losing the game 2-1. Let's hear from the Norwich manager Philippe Clement after the game on the handball.
I think everybody in the stadium saw it. My bench saw it. I saw it from 50 yards. But not the referee and not the linesman. So that's very disappointing because it's a decisive moment in the game. Not only in control, no, we were dominating the game, we were creating the chances, the best chances, most chances. Also afterwards, then they have one counter-attack where they make the 0-2, but you see again the right reaction for my team, and they kept going, and we scored then the goal. But we should have scored much more goals today. I think this was a clear hold-up. The team deserved much more. It's the start of the season, so it's going to be a lot of games. You have games where things don't go your way. For sure, it was the case today because my team deserved for sure the 3 points.
Really interesting. They lost 2-1. Norwich, he says they deserve the 3 points. Obviously, West Brom might disagree with that. But actually, end of last season, there was an incident where Philippe Clement called for VAR in the Championship. He was less clear on that this time around, saying this is one that the officials should spot. I think I've got the answer to this. This is what I said on Saturday's show after the incident. I said, it is a clear handball. You're thinking officials should spot it because it's so clear, but they didn't spot it. So how about this? Would this work? Stuart Pearce, you've been in the heat of battle. Would this work? You can't expect players, you can't expect Hegebo to say, I handballed it. That's not going to happen. I get that. But what if the ref goes up to the player, looks him in the eye and asks, did you handball it? If the player says no, goal's given and we crack on. But if it's then clear later on that he did handball it, he gets a 3-game ban for lying. What's wrong with that? Would that actually work in practice?
Yeah, I've got 2 examples with myself in my one with my playing career and one with my managerial career. We played Brazil at Wembley, and literally I got back behind our goalkeeper and managed to, right on the line, push the ball out with my hands, right on my chest almost, because I was going backwards. I'd have gone in the goal if I didn't use my hands. I got letters from England fans saying I'm a cheat. You know what I mean? And I can live with that because I got England a result that day. So I've got no guilt in regard to that. And also had one I was manager of Nottingham Forest. We played away at Birmingham, and Britt Asabalonga got back and defended one and pushed it over the bar with his hands. I could see it from my technical area. I think Gary Rowett was the manager for Birmingham. And he looked at me and went, he's handballed that. I went, yeah, I know. The referee give a corner. They've gone over to take the corner. They're up in arms. The referee's not seen it. No VAR, obviously. He's given a corner. The 4th official has heard me agree with Rowett and say, so he goes over. He must have spoke with him or whatever, or linked up. He said to him, it's handball. And I think Stuart Pearce is agreeing with you. And he's the Forest manager. Honestly, but the referee changed his mind, went over, give Britt a red card, sent him off. I went up to the referee. I said, the only reason you changed your mind is because the 4th official, you didn't see that. But however you got there, you got the right decision. Well done.
So you basically got your own player sent off.
I did.
Well done. So if
Great story.
It's an unbelievable story. That's amazing. If just show your incident where you keep it off the you stop Brazil scoring with your hands, right? If the referee has come up to you and says, "Did you handball it?" and you know you're going to miss the next 3 England games if you lie about it, what are you going to do?
I'd probably tell the truth.
Okay.
If being myself.
Could that work in practice, Darren? Do you think if you ask the player eye to eye, and knowing there's going to be a punishment if you lie?
Well, I was going to say, in theory, if you took out the reviewing it afterwards element of it, then I would have said no. But as you both were saying, if the player knows that in the moment, if they lie and then it gets reviewed, they're shown to have lied, then I think it could work.
This is why I never been a lover of VAR, and I'm one of probably people look at me as I was a dinosaur some years ago before VAR come in. I said no, I'm a qualified referee, so I turn round and say let the officials officiate.
Yes.
I'd rather not have VAR and people, it's a multi-million-pound. No, it's not. It's a game.
It's a game.
It's a game. So we have a situation like that. I can live with that as a manager, the decision at West Brom, because I know, looking at the footage you've just shown me, the linesman can't see it because he's behind the player on the goal line. So he can't see what part of that body is it. So he can't see it. you either turn around and say, well, the referee's a cheat and saw it and didn't give it, or he didn't see it either, which I go for the latter. So you can live with that. 2 officials have not picked it up. They physically can't see it. What's the problem?
Darren, VAR in the Championship?
I'm with Stuart. I wouldn't have it in the Championship. We don't even like it in the Premier League. It's really taken away the enjoyment. It slows the game down. Everyone's way too officious. I know why it is in the Premier League. It's because there is so much money now. But I'm like you, right at the very start, I wasn't in favour of it because I always felt that they would bring it in for one thing, then it would extend to another, and it would extend to another. And ultimately, you will get people going down to the High Court, wherever, waving bits of paper saying we didn't get this decision or that decision. But the bottom line is it has wrecked our enjoyment of football. They will say, well, we get to the right decisions in the end. But the stoppages, the impingement on the players, the breakup of the play, there are so many reasons why it's just so much better in the Championship. I wouldn't change that.
And I was at West Ham last week for the Carabao Cup and was talking to West Ham fans about the season ahead, and they said the one great thing about being in the Championship was no VAR.
Yeah,
it was that they were looking forward to that, and they've actually sold a lot of tickets, season tickets, West Ham, and I don't think it's a surprise. I think fans and players don't want VAR.
At the start of every season, we get these briefings, and all the referees always say, we had this many right decisions, and we were much faster with this, that, and the other. And this is what we're going to do for this new season. And then you get 2 or 3 months in, and all the same things that we were frustrated by last season will start happening this season. We know it. We've seen it. It's happened time and time again. And I just think right now, if you listen to the audio from any exchange between the VAR and the referee, up to my mind, the game is being re-refereed because a referee isn't, someone doesn't say there was an incident there, you might want to take a look at it and then just stay quiet. All right. They'll say, this happened, that person did that, and I'm recommending this, and this. Well, how is that not re-refereeing the game?
Yeah, totally agree. And I think it should, if anything, first steps are maybe scaling it right back and having it minimally involved with
You know what surprised me, Aid, with VAR? When it first come in and people said, oh, you're going to have people in Stockley Park reviewing it, there's going to be someone there, there's going to be someone there. I said straight away, have an ex-player or an ex-manager there to give a player's mind's eye of what you're seeing would be helpful. And when you send your assessment down to the referee, don't say, well, hang on, referee, go and do this, go and do that. That decision's final. What's the point in asking the referee to review it? You've got all of you with multiple replays, with 3 heads or 4 heads sat up there. Why ask the referee to go and review it again? There's no need for that.
Yeah.
Just send him down what you've seen and give him an answer.
And just on top of that, if you've got to look at something for more than a minute, it's clearly not clear and obvious. Move on.
Yeah.
Well, you're both talking common sense, talking my language as well. They are coming to the end of 2 minutes added on at the end of the first half at the Cardiff City Stadium, where it's Cardiff 0, Wrexham 1. It's live on talkSPORT 2. I need help with the forthcoming season, and you can help next on talkSPORT.
So, Martin, you've already said that you worry for Manchester City in some way, but I mean, it's the Community Shield. Can you really take the Community Shield as a serious
I think
benchmark
that's
at
a bit
any time?
disparaging what you're saying. Let me just put it into perspective. So
How is it?
that's a game of honour, right? In terms of it's an honour to play in that football match because what it represents is the 2 most successful teams from the season before. So you walk out there, shoulders back, chest out, and you're proud to be there. Okay, you want to win it. Let me tell you want that in your team photograph. That photograph for Arsenal has been held back and City for this week, so they can maybe drop in another trophy. Arsenal will have that. You're proud to do it.
So you really value your
It's a dress
Community Shield medal,
100%, 100%. It's a dress. Oh, yes. Well, you'll have to take it from me. You've asked me the question. If you don't believe me, then what can I do about that?
Okay.
So I can just tell you how I was, my mindset. Now, really what I enjoyed yesterday was the mindset of the players. So obviously born out of the culture within the club. The manager's really pleased. You can see there's been a really good reaction. Ødegaard is back in the building, is ready to go. He's the captain. He's the player whose position's under most threat, and he played a big part in the game yesterday. So let's get that right. But you're right. If you lose the game, you can say it doesn't matter, we're not ready, because it's part of your training.
That's a very point.
But the thing is, it's still a valuable trophy. Whenever we saw Pep win it, wasn't that often, by the way, so we shouldn't be panicking in a Man City situation. They lost 4 of the last 5 Community Shields. You basically look at it and say, okay, it's part of the training, but we'll be ready for the start of the season. Wake-up call for Man City. And I'm saying they need to wake up, Jim, because yesterday they fell below the standards that we've been used to seeing.
It's kick-off on talkSPORT, half-time in South Wales. Cardiff 0, Wrexham 1 is live on talkSPORT 2. Jack Grealish is at the game, we found out.
Yeah.
And does that mean he's going to Wrexham? What are you laughing at?
I'm not ruling that out as outlandish. Honestly, I could see him going to Wrexham. He's the type of individual that would think, what a brilliant challenge that is. I think so.
Well, we'll see. It's with the window open. Who knows? I need some serious help, okay, from the talkSPORT listeners and from you two guys as well. You've got empathy, haven't you? You can understand human suffering. Yeah?
No, I'm more apathy than empathy tonight.
Especially when I say what I'm going to say.
He's apathy, I'm empathy.
Exactly.
Blank off.
Dear. I do need your help. Last 2 seasons, my club has been terrible. They've been in relegation battles, and last season was truly awful. I mean, they weren't flirting with relegation. They were necking. They were necking on. They were tashing on with relegation. This season, I think they're actually doomed. We've won 1 game in 16, stretching back through last season. That 1 game that we won was against Rotherham, so it doesn't count because everybody was beating them. So the identity of the club has been brilliant, scoring goals and having fun. And they've stopped doing that. They've stopped attacking. They've stopped scoring goals. The identity is gone and they literally can't defend. I think we're going down. So if I'm proved right, if I'm wrong, then fine. But if I'm proved right, how on earth do I cope between now and May? If you're... So, and context is everything. I've seen my team relegated a few times recently from the Championship. I get that. We're punching above our weight in the Championship. League One, to be relegated from League One, is not the end of the world. I'm totally on board with that. But how do you cope with a whole season when you know your team's going to be terrible? There's loads of fans listening to this who know exactly what I'm talking about. You've got a whole season ahead where you know your team is going to be absolutely terrible. They won't score many goals. They certainly won't win many games. They will be tough to watch. How on earth do you cope with knowing that that's going to happen? Darren Lewis, first of all.
Well, can I start off by asking you, interesting the way you framed the stat. 1 win in 16, stretching to the back end of last season.
Yeah.
This season, what's the run?
We played 1 in the league, lost 1 in the league.
So you've lost
Didn't
1.
score.
You've lost the only game you've played so far.
Yeah, and truly terrible defending. And no, I mean, we had a chance from about 2 yards out. They hit the bar. And apart from that, didn't really look like scoring.
I wonder if you're being a little... And I can understand the anxiety, but I think it's a bit too soon. I really do.
Okay.
If you had said this in mid-September and you'd won 1 in 6 or 1 in 8, I'd say, yeah, okay.
So you're saying the way to deal with my feelings right now is to have a more positive mindset now?
Absolutely. Now, because...
Wouldn't that make it even worse when we really are terrible?
I saw the chairman was on... I saw the chairman was on social media.
Yep.
And he said, listen, I've heard some stuff about players we're going to sign. We have made some signing. You know, chairman's not backwards and coming forwards. And he talked about the players that he'd brought in and why he'd brought them in. And he's very optimistic about this season. And he feels that things will change based on the players that he brings in this season. And I've listened to him talk. He's a tremendously, as we all know, he's a very erudite individual. And I'm actually quite enthused by what he's had to say. So I would point to that for you.
All our fans now are listening to you saying, oh, he'll learn. Darren will learn. Of course he's going to be optimistic. And to be honest, it's not necessarily a specific Peterborough thing. I don't expect people to be listening to this, knowing about my club. It's about that negative feeling at the start of a season. And as a player, Stuart...
Just before... I know you're going to go to Stu, right?
Yeah.
But, sorry, forgive me, Stu.
Right.
Start of last season, Brentford, they lost their manager, they lost key members of their backroom staff, they lost their Christian Norgard, they lost a centre half, and they would have been asking themselves exactly the question that you're asking. And that feeling probably wouldn't have gone away in the first game, the second game, but by September and by October, they would have seen that actually there is still a spirit within this group of players led by the manager who went on, in my opinion, as well as Stuart's, to be a real candidate and should have been a manager of the season. And I think that there is time for the players to confound your expectations.
Okay, Stuart, help me.
Darren, I think you've been very kind. Now I'm going through. Here we go. Right, buckle yourself in, fella.
Okay.
I don't know whether you know the Spike Milligan book, Adolf Hitler and my part in his downfall.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay, have you got that? I'd like to think that I've contributed to your downfall by signing Britt Assabalonga, taking goals out your football club. Yeah. That's number one. Secondly, there's a common denominator here. Hull, your rugby club, are bloody useless, and so are Peterborough. Yep. There's one common denominator. It's you, my friend. You're an albatross. Okay? So I've got the remedy at the end of it. If you want the antidote, and sometimes it's really tough and you've got to take it on the chin, support Arsenal. Buy a season ticket, get in sync with your wife, who's a big gunner as well, and you'll be harmonious at home, and you might win the league next year.
Or if I'm the common denominator, maybe I'll bring bad fortune on Arsenal.
Win-win.
Isn't it a win-win?
It's a win-win.
Absolutely right.
Look, see? Look at that. It's cheered him up.
You've cheered him up already.
Well, a temporary cheering up of me, but reality, you can't change your club. In fact, I actually interviewed somebody today. She's an ultra marathon runner, and she's written a book, and I read the book, and in it she states casually she's a Wimbledon fan. So I started talking to her about Wimbledon. She says, "Oh, I'm not a Wimbledon fan anymore. I support Brentford now." I'm like, how can you do that? I mean, you can't change your club, can you? So So since I was how long ago? Over 50 years ago, I watched my first Peterborough United game. I'm not going to change now, am I? I can't, can I? Reality, you can't change your club.
You cannot change it. You can buy a half and half scarf. You can't.
I can buy a carpet.
A half and half carpet.
That's what I do.
Half Peterborough, half Arsenal.
Has anybody got an Arsenal carpet?
Arsenal. Is it a ran or a rug? But get yourself a nice rug.
Oh dear. Unbelievable.
I hope that helped anyway.
It has not helped at all. If there are any suggestions, please feel free to drop us a message.
There's a new slot on this show. Uncle Stu.
Yeah. Dear Deirdre.
Dear Deirdre.
Who knew? A couple of hours ago we'd be talking about half and half carpets. Yeah. I mean, they even existed half an hour ago, 2 hours ago. We are going to make some top 7 predictions, some relegation predictions. That's coming up next on talkSPORT.
there's a bit of housery about it. And since Cucurella's gone, I kind of like that housery.
Oh no, I think it's a great quality. I think if you're talking about a footballer strictly on the pitch here, and you use words like, oh, he's snide, he's snarling, he's aggressive. These are good words to use about a footballer. I want players to be like that. I think Chelsea have been a little bit too nice over recent years, and I think having somebody that is a little bit more on the front foot is a good thing. Enzo Fernandez, we've seen it. Like when he scored that goal against Paris Saint-Germain, he's running off towards their ultras, showing them the Club World Cup badge. Whenever we play Manchester United, he's got Mason Mount round the throat. Like he understands what Mason Mount's relationship with Chelsea fans is, and he leans into that. There are qualities to Enzo Fernandez, no doubt, but I'd 100% want him out of the club and 100% take the money.
Okay, Sean?
I totally agree. I do like him as a footballer, but his heart's not in it. And from the minute he started to tout himself around in terms of, I want to play for Madrid, you know what? Guess what? Go. The player I want to see fit is Lavia. Now, when I don't think you remember between towards the end of December 2024, we almost went to the top of the league. And the reason why that is because Lavia was playing superbly. The one thing wrong with Lavia, when he injures an eyelash, he's out for about 6 months. So we need to keep him fit. And if we can keep him fit, when he was playing, Fernandez wasn't even playing because they played Casado at right back, and he was the main man running the show. And when we went to Spurs and we turned them over, right, he was the main reason.
Who would have thought a sporting event's halftime show could have a bigger impact than the game itself? Well, the Super Bowl halftime show does exactly that. In 2024, Usher brought in an audience of 180 million worldwide, the biggest ever in the event's history. But how did singing and dancing get to be the centerpiece of America's biggest sporting event? The first edition of the Super Bowl was held in 1967 when the Green Bay Packers beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Los Angeles. Because of the sheer size of the event, organisers wanted to put on entertainment at halftime for the fans in the stadium. It was a display of marching bands, dancers and pure USA patriotism, and that was the theme that followed for years. In the 1980s, the Walt Disney Company got involved and we started seeing some interesting and questionable displays. But we got our first glimpse of halftime shows to come in '93 when none other than Michael Jackson stunned fans with his 15-minute medley of his own smash hits. When he walked out on stage, he had to wait for the crowd's cheers to die down for about 2 minutes before even starting his first song. Diana Ross, Gloria Estefan, Phil Collins all starred in their own shows, as did Aerosmith, who performed alongside NSYNC. Things got a little bit out of hand in 2004 when Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson produced perhaps the most famous or infamous wardrobe malfunction in history. Shows from the likes of Prince, Lady Gaga and Beyoncé are considered by critics as the best. To give you an idea of the scale of things, Rihanna's 2023 halftime show included roughly 800 people. These ranged from backing dancers to stage crew to camera operatives broadcasting to millions around the world. The whole stage for that show was built in roughly 8 minutes and was broken down and cleared away in the same time. The acts perform for free nowadays, even though the experts reckon it costs around $13 million to put on Rihanna's show. Artists know they'll rocket up the charts in the following weeks. Rihanna's average sales improved by 140% in the months following her performance. The Super Bowl halftime show will be a fixture in pop culture for years to come. So the question is, who next?
It's Monday night kickoff on talkSPORT. I'm Adrian Durham. Stuart Pearce and Darren Lewis are with me through till 10. On talkSPORT 2 right now, Cardiff 0, Wrexham 1. The second half has just kicked off. You can download the talkSPORT app and you'll find talkSPORT 2 on there, or stick with us. We're going to be making our Premier League predictions. And if you missed it, let me run through a few of the bold predictions that were given earlier. I think it's best if I give the bold predictions, but don't say who said them. Okay, that might be best all round. So, Man City and Chelsea won't finish top 4 was 1. Brentford and Brighton will finish top 6. Brian Maggio for Young Player of the Year, the Villa striker. Isaac for the Golden Boots. João Pedro for the Golden Boots. Conflict going on there. And I said Spurs and Leeds will finish above Manchester United. I also gave an outrageous opinion that nobody really disagreed with. So it's not outrageous that Jordan Pickford won't be England number 1 by the end of this season.
I don't even think Chelsea, no City is outrageous.
I think for City not to finish top 4...
Why? They haven't got Guardiola. They're about to sell their best midfielder, arguably their best player. Defensively, they don't look that great. Why would that be outrageous?
Okay.
They're a side in transition, a club in transition, and we've seen historically when managers that have been at a successful football club for a sustained period of time leave, generally that club tends to lose their way.
Listen, I'm hearing you, but we've already all predicted Arsenal are going to be the champions, right? We're all on board with that. So I've actually got another opinion on that. If I can just we'll get back to what you were saying in a second, because we need your top 7. What I will say about Arsenal is I actually think that they will win the title by more than 20 points, and that will be a new record-winning margin of points for the title winners since the Premier League began. Liverpool were 18 points ahead of City in the COVID season. City were 19 points ahead of United in 2018. That's the Premier League record. I think Arsenal are so together. I mean, they're so stable as a club. I think they've built on the squad that they had last season. They're playing with that. They seem to have this confidence and air of authority the title win has brought them, that I think that, and the lack of contenders as well, the lack of challenge from anybody means that they can be even more confident. I can see them winning the title by more than 20 points. If they won it by more, 7 last season?
7.
And I will add that the last game for Man City was a testimonial. It was an embarrassment. And actually, I think City should be punished for it, but it was a shocker. I mean, you had about 3 players going down tunnels mid-game. It was pathetic. Arsenal, I think, will have so much confidence, authority, and the quality because of that will shine through. They're going to win the title by more than 20 points.
Can I add a slight rider, which is that, as I said before, only one winner of the Community Shield's gone on to win the Premier League in the last 15 years. Actually, it's the losing team in the Premier League, in the Community Shield, that goes on to have a decent season.
Okay.
So, for example, when Darwin Núñez scored in the Community Shield and Erling Haaland didn't, and everyone thought, oh my gosh, City have brought a dud here, and Darwin Núñez is going to go on to be the great player. And of course, Haaland went on to break all the records and win the league, turning handsprings. But I think so that is an important rider to add. It is not a barometer of who will win the Premier League champions, but I think, again, another plug for the Mourinho sort of thing, but he says we can have all the data you want in football and all the stats and whatever else, but the thing that you cannot dismiss that's more important than anything else is your eyes. And I think all of us saw yesterday a side that had turned up from minute one, regardless of the status of the competition or of the match, if you like, to compete. And I think that's the reason why we think what we do about Arsenal.
Do we think Arsenal are strong contenders to win the league because we're not looking around and thinking who are going to give them a real test for their money this season?
Yeah, I think that's
is it part
a big
of that,
part of it,
part of Arsenal, and a combination
it's them
of both?
being good and getting better, and I think it's a big part that there's no contenders. There's a lot of turmoil in the clubs that you traditionally think would be contenders. So Man City losing an icon in Pep Guardiola and the players that they've lost as well. Chelsea were 10th last season. They can't recover to win the title, surely. Spurs have not been anywhere near it for ages.
Well, again, I think with Chelsea as well, it's more than sure that they can't. The goalkeeper's uncertain. His distribution's poor. You don't know. He can't string together 5 games in a row, for example, without something going wrong. Defensively, they do not have a leader. They don't have a commanding player in the mould of a Gabriel, a Saliba, Ruben Diaz, a Virgil van Dijk. I don't look at any single centre half that they have and believe that guy is going to be the one who's going to earn them a clean sheet on any given week.
Saliba, by the way, is that how big a problem is that?
Didn't look a problem yesterday.
No.
Mosquera was outstanding, I thought.
Okay.
You know?
So that's not going to be a problem. Okay, so Arsenal going to win the title. Let's predict our top 7s. I'm going to go Arsenal, City to finish 2nd. Chelsea, I think, will finish 3rd. Spurs 4th. I've got Brighton 5th. Leeds 6th. Man United 7th. So your prediction about Brighton, Brentford being top 6, I'd echo it with Brighton. Do you know what? A lot of it is based...
Wait.
What
you had Leeds 6th?
Yeah.
Leeds 6th?
Leeds United, yeah.
Based on...
They've got themselves a proper goalkeeper now.
Right.
I think that he did very well to stabilise them and can build again. I think it'll be a freak season for them. The big defender whose name I can't yet pronounce because the season hasn't started, Mihajlovic, I think is going to be sensational for them. I'm a big believer in Daniel Farke and Leeds United.
You really are a big believer.
I am.
I think the first game I'm at will give you a real indicator, Forest versus Leeds, because both of them will look at each other and think, we can finish above you.
Yes.
And the result of that game, if there is a result, all of a sudden there's early season indicators.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But I think the last few seasons, we've had teams out of nowhere that have finished in positions we didn't expect. So Bournemouth, Brighton. Brentford tailed off a little bit towards the end of last season, but did way better than, as you mentioned earlier, way better than people expected. So
they were the red hot tip to get relegated last year, and I tipped them to go down.
So for me, Leeds are that team. So that's my top 7: Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Spurs, Brighton, Leeds, and Manchester United. Stuart, what are you going for?
Well, in no particular order, apart from Arsenal being number 1.
Are you doing the top 7 in no order?
Yeah,
you've got to do. You can't do that. You've got to give us the order.
Okay.
So you're telling me that 7th could finish 2nd?
Right, here we go then.
Shall I go to Darren first? Do you want to
No.
All right.
Liverpool finished 2nd.
Okay.
I think some of their players that took a time to settle in. Obviously, one of us thinks that Isak might be the top scorer. He's going to play a big part in them finishing 2nd, if he is. 3rd, I'm going to go for Chelsea. 4th, Manchester United. 5th, Manchester City. Brentford 6th. Brighton 6th. Brentford. No, I said that. Yeah. Both of them. Hang on a minute. This is where Man City. I'm going to strike you out. You're down to 7th, Man City, just for me to shoehorn Brentford and Brighton into the top 6.
So Brighton top? They're 5th, are they?
5th, yeah. Brentford 6th.
And City in... I love this. City in 7th, okay?
Yep.
Are you all right with that? You sure? You don't
Yes. No.
I mean, so you do agree with me about City as well?
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I will say Arsenal to win it. Liverpool, for all the reasons you said. I think a lot of the players who needed a first season to get their feet under the table, I think that they will bring a lot to the table this season.
Have we seen Liverpool's defence?
Well, Jeremy Jacquet, I think, will make a big difference. And I think that Ronald Araujo, who's come in as well, I think that if there was anything... Last season at Bournemouth, Areola lost his goalkeeper and 3 of his back 4, right? And he was able to rebuild it to such an extent that they were one of the toughest teams outside the top 6. In fact, including the top 6, to beat in the Premier League. And I don't doubt that he will be able to do a similar thing with this Liverpool side as well. It may well be a final season for Alisson, who's had a lot of injuries, and we don't know what the future holds for him. But I think that he is a manager that likes to build from the back, and that stability will be key in Liverpool's resurgence, I think.
Can I ask you both a question here? Do you think the managers, if you took all the managers, you're a chairman now, and you've got Manchester United manager, Man City manager, Liverpool, and Chelsea. So 4 teams there that are all considered to finish in pretty high. Where high, we don't know. Which manager would you take out of the 4 managers there for your football club? Would Areola be your pick?
Xabi Alonso would be my pick.
Would it?
Yeah, I think so. Bearing in mind what he did at Leverkusen. I know there was the Real Madrid situation that didn't work, but that's about... I mean, it's such a unique club, Real Madrid, that you're either brilliant or totally rubbish there. And I just think it was a bad fit. So based on what he did at Leverkusen, I'd take Xabi Alonso.
So when you say you're talking about all the top 4 outside of Arsenal?
Yeah, so we're talking about Michael Carrick, we're talking about Maresco.
Yep.
What sort of order would you take these or view them as such? Alonso and Areola.
All right,
now, 4 managers there for top teams.
Yeah.
What would you take? What order would you put those 4 in?
I would go Areola, based on what he did with a lesser team, if you like, in Bournemouth, in a tougher league.
Xabi Alonso went unbeaten a whole season.
Absolutely, but it was in a different league, and this is the toughest league in the world. Yeah, Bayern Munich. This is a league with City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool. Come on, if you outside of Bayern Munich and Dortmund, what other challenges did he have? 1860 Munich, Hamburg.
A time when Frankfurt were a little bit better, but I take your point that there's not as many good teams.
Exactly.
You cannot undermine that achievement.
Absolutely. I wouldn't look to denigrate it at all. They did superbly well.
Clearly have denigrated that.
No, I haven't.
You've just done it.
It's not a zero-sum game. I'm basically saying if you look at what he did, it was terrific. But what Areola did, relatively speaking, in a stronger league, having lost 3 of his back 4 and his goalkeeper, was outstanding. It was outstanding. There was a moment during the season where he had, in that little television gantry, he had something like 10 or 11 players injured, sitting up there, and they were still seeing off teams. They were still disciplined, still committed, still consistent. That's what has earned him the job at Liverpool, because he's able to get that level of performance, and the culture was right as well. I think they both did brilliant jobs, and I wouldn't seek to denigrate what Alonso's done. But I think as far as Areola's concerned, I really like the work he's done.
Sorry, you're going Areola, then Xabi Alonso, then Carrick or Maresca?
Carrick, then Maresca.
Yeah, I'd go Xabi Alonso, Areola, Carrick, then Maresca. Stuart?
Areola, Alonso. Yeah, I'd agree with yourself.
Yeah,
Carrick, Maresco. It's all interesting how arguably the biggest club in the world, Manchester City, certainly over the last decade or so, has put a manager in place that we deem bottom of the 4 managers that we've just mentioned there.
Darren will finish off your top 7 and talk about relegation next on talkSPORT.
Swap 1 Europa for 1 Prem.
Yeah, all right. Yeah,
2.
Obviously.
You're swapping 2, Jay. You are.
Dunno.
Jay, you are.
Maybe 2. Don't know, though. Like, them nights as a final, you've been in cup finals. Them nights, you never give them
Jay,
up.
I've been 2. And do you know what? I don't want to bring it up, yeah? You cost me one of them.
What do you mean I cost you one of them?
You missed the pen. So
Hold on. Wait, hold on. I didn't see you taking one.
I said to Harry, I'll take 1.
No.
5.
No. Let's have this out. Don't be blaming me for your Carabao Cup loss, all right? Because I took the first pen and Darren Bent was nowhere to be seen.
And I'm going to tell you the exact truth of what happened.
No,
At the time, I was a penalty taker. I said to Harry, I'll take 1. He said, no, you take 5. I went,
no, Robbie Keane took 5.
No, I was supposed to take 5.
Right.
And he said, you took 1. So it never got to me. I never got to take 1.
Yeah, but the 5th penalty on that night was Robbie Keane.
No, it's me.
Nah, you're lying.
Ask Keano. I don't know if you can remember, but...
Nah, you're lying.
I was 5.
You're lying.
I was the penalty taker at the time. So
why don't you take 1?
Because I said to Harry, he said, no, 5.
Nah, I disagree, mate. I think you bottled it.
Hey, listen. Hey, have you seen the pen, Bill?
I did not cost you a Carabao Cup.
You did, mate.
Where were you in the 90 mins?
That could have been 2, mate. That could have been 2 for me. That, but no. Cheers, Jake.
That still haunts me. That does.
Does it?
Yeah, it hurts my feelings. I think about it a lot.
Ben Foster had the game of his life, mate.
Yeah.
He won man of the match that game as well.
Mate, it hurts. That game's on as well all the time. They play that game a lot. It's such a bad game.
Do you know what, right? I don't really like giving you credit, but I felt for you in the first one because you were playing well in that period.
Oh, I know.
And he left you out completely.
Yeah,
I felt for you in that.
Yeah, that hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
It's Monday night kickoff on talkSPORT. Live on talkSPORT 2 right now. It's still Cardiff 0, Wrexham 1. We were just talking about new managers in the Premier League. Carrick, Maresca. Well, Carrick's not new, but you know what I mean. Carrick, Maresca, Iriola, Xabi Alonso, putting them in order. Maresca finished bottom of the 4 for all of us. But there's a little bit of logic as to why City appointed him, because he was there before.
Yeah.
Is that an allowance we should make for it?
Well, I can understand why they've gone to him. He knows the runnings of the club, the inside of the club. But when I played devil's advocate, that's why I asked you the question about these 4 teams. Where would you put them in the pecking order? To expand that at this stage and say, well, you would say, just off the top of my head, Arteta and Emery, you would consider them better managers than Maresca. So if you're a world power that is Manchester City, you might sit back and say, we've recruited a manager that might not be in the top 10 managers in the Premier League at this moment in time. I mean, he might have to prove himself. He's working with an elite squad of players, or should be, that have got a series of victories behind them over the last decade or more, you know. So it's interesting. If you would be recruiting centre-halves or centre-forwards that you would deem in the bottom 10 in their own positions, you would say that's poor recruitment, wouldn't you? So
it's a fair point. Fair point. Darren, you were giving us your top 7. You'd gone Arsenal to win the title, Liverpool second, then?
Then I would go for Villa in third. They've been consistent over the last few seasons, and I see no reason why that won't continue. I know that they've lost Morgan Rogers, and I know that they've lost Yuri Tielemans. But Tielemans wasn't as free scoring as people might think. And I think that Manzambi looks like a good young player. They've used the opportunity to refresh the side and that midfield, and they brought in a couple of quite exciting players. And so I think that it might well work in their favour, and they could still do a deal for Nicholas Jackson as well. And I talked about Emery being really good with attacking players. I can see a world where Villa do confound a few expectations and still finish in the top 3.
what would be your mentality if Arsenal come knocking for Konsa, which has been speculated upon?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think by now they'll know whether he wants to go or not. And the great strength of Villa is that they always have another one in the chamber. And so I would imagine they'll be moving quite quickly to replace him. But if they were to... The thing about... I looked at Emery's Villarreal team that he took to the semi-finals of the Champions League, got into the Champions League in the first place. It had players that so many other Premier League teams didn't want. Etienne Capoue, Juan Foyth. You know, there are lots of players that on their own you'd think, nah. But he's so good at getting the sum of the parts, knowing what sort of player fits in with what he's trying to do and is going to be good for the group. And he's done that with a consistency as well. And I think that's the reason why I would go for him again to finish third. You talked about stability, and in the Premier League, yes, we've seen outliers. Leicester, Arne Slot obviously goes to Liverpool for the first time, wins it straight away. But again, we've established it was very much with Jurgen Klopp's team. I think what Emery's done, not just built a team, but built an ethos, and he brings in players that can slot into that.
I like that. Villa third, then what?
Right, Man U, City. So
you're down to 6 now.
Yeah, I've got one more, haven't I? Sorry, Man U, City, and then Chelsea. And Chelsea for me...
Hold on. That is Chelsea in 6th. So 7th?
Who have I got? Do you know, 7th, I'm going to go Spurs. Not because they'll have done badly, but I just think this is the toughest league in the world. It's going to be very congested up there. And I think United in 4th because I think the Carrick is going to bring back that United way, if you like. And I think that their strikers are going to get them goals. We haven't even mentioned Ahmad as well. I think the contribution from midfield of Fernandes is going to be key, but I just don't see that defensively they're going to be good enough. I think as far as City are concerned, I've explained all the reasons why. Chelsea, again, the goalkeeper and the centre halves, I'm just not convinced by. And then Spurs. Until Spurs buy a 25-goal a season striker, and I don't think they have one at the moment. I certainly don't think Gakpo is one. I cannot see them in the mix for the top 4. They should be aiming at the top 4.
Richarlison's not, no.
Oh, goodness me, it's not even a 10-goal a season. I don't want to be disrespectful at all, but I just think that...
Proceeds to be disrespectful.
No. If you're talking about top 4, and certainly if you're talking about the title, we all know, I'm not giving you anything all of our listeners don't know and we don't know. If you're talking about title or top 4, you need a 20 to 25-goal a season striker.
He's scored double figures in 2 of his 4 seasons at Spurs.
How many in total?
He scored double
in any one of those seasons.
Premier League goals, he scored 11 twice.
11.
There was double figures.
11.
Yeah, but if they're going to get better,
11.
I'm not.
How many years has he been playing in the Premier League?
I'm not a big. Well,
Richarlison is not good enough to take them into the top 4.
How do you realise he scored in 3 of his 4 seasons at Everton? He got into double figures as well.
How many times has he scored 20 goals in the Premier League?
He's never scored 20 goals in the Premier League.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's fine. Let's see. Richarlison loves people.
What we should be doing is looking at the squad. We used to do this at West Ham, and it's work out the averages of what your whole squad normally scores.
Yes.
So if you've got Frank Lampard in your squad, you can probably guarantee that he's going to get 15 goals a season, maybe more. So that equates to points. So you've got 15 goals equates to 15 points.
Okay.
Do that to all the squads in the Premier League, and you'll find out exactly where you think the team is going to finish. It's uncanny. You look at the league table at the end of the year, and in most years, unless you've got a massively good defence that sort of gets you out of trouble, that you've not scored many goals, so you might be a slight outlier in that and finish higher. In the main, the goals you score equate to the points you get. End of.
That's fascinating insight. I like that. A word on who's going down. Can we have some relegation predictions, please? I will start. Listen, only one of the 3 that came up last season went down. Leeds and Sunderland. Sunderland in particular did very well. I think Ipswich will go down. I actually think that they're okay bouncing between Premier League and Championship. I don't know how far that mentality takes you, whether fans will be happy with that. But Hull City, I think, will be down. They've got just too much to try and build from what they started with. And I reckon Fulham as well might go down. Yeah. Arbeloa is so unproven. I think to come into the Premier League and do anything special, I think will be. I mean, he got sent off pre-season.
Yes.
You know, the Fulham players refused to take part in a penalty shootout. I mean, the discipline's just shot already. So I think they've been treading water. I think Marco Silva's done brilliant there for 5 years or whatever it's been. So I've got Fulham bottom 3. Stu?
I've gone for the bottom 3. I've got Ipswich, Hull, and Sunderland.
Oh,
I think.
Whoa.
I think Sunderland are in Europe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
I think a European campaign is very tough. I think they dropped off towards the second half of the season. They dropped off. They managed to nick a few results on the way, but started extremely well. A good start's really important. They got that, and they punched way above their weight last year. I just wonder whether them as a football club can sustain that with a European campaign as well. So that's what I've thrown in there. And I've got 2 other teams that I think will struggle as well. But if you want them later on, I can, or give you them now.
Later on. Darren Lewis, who's going down?
It's really interesting with the Sunderland thing, because I think at first I did take the sharp intake of breath, but I think you're right. There are lots of clubs that have a great first season back in the Premier League, get into Europe, and then can't manage that European, because you need depth and you need that ability. Even established teams like Spurs were in Europa League, and they struggled with the playing on the Thursday, playing on the Sunday. So I can see exactly what you're talking about. I think Ipswich and Hull don't look strong enough to me. I'm worried. I don't think they will go down, but I'm really worried for Newcastle. The magic seems to have gone. And certainly all of the players, the top players, have left the football club now. And I'm just worried about the morale there for this season. It's hard with the last one because there are so many teams that could be there. I think Coventry will be all right.
Go on, go Newcastle. Go on.
No, I'm not.
Go
going
on.
Newcastle. You want to get me killed?
Just hold your hands up if you're wrong. It's fine.
No. I think Ipswich, Leeds, and Ipswich, Hull, and I will go with Fulham. He's brought in Shea Charles, but he brought in a couple of players, youngish players from Real Madrid. The business hasn't been outstanding for Fulham, and I think that Arbeloa, you might be right. After all that good work from his predecessor, this might be the season where he ends up.
If he can get games out of Emile Smith-Rowe, Oscar Bob, Kevin, all big signings, big money signings, then fine. But nobody's got a game out of them yet. Fulham, Bob hasn't been there that long. I get that. Coming up, we'll talk about transfer fees going crazy. This is talkSPORT.
Cricket, what? But I know Chelsea had a deadline for Fernandes, but it looks like Rodri's obviously on his way to Spain, Barcelona. I think he's going over there today. Would they go back in? It seems common sense, and particularly after watching that yesterday, would they go back to Chelsea, do you think, City?
I think it's almost nailed on that they're going to chance their arm there. Rodri deal was agreed overnight, £65 million, which is always the magic number. As far as Manchester City are concerned, he's agreed a 4-year deal. They're going to sell to Gianni Reinders as well. Those transfer fees combined will be enough to match Chelsea's £120 million asking price for Enzo Fernandez. Now, obviously, sources telling us on Friday that the 5 o'clock deadline had passed. No written bids have been received. Therefore, Enzo Fernandez would stay a Chelsea player. I'm not convinced that was as hard a deadline as maybe it's being made out.
What about Jamie Vardy, Crookie? Well, reading reports that he's had an offer from Brazil.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because Jamie Vardy still looks in top physical condition. Obviously did pretty well in his stint over in Italy. I think he'd prefer a return to English football, if I'm honest, but I wouldn't totally rule out a move to Brazil. Who knows, that might be the next chapter of the documentary that I've just started watching about his incredible career. But he's certainly got no shortage of interest. Sheffield Wednesday, his boyhood club, have chanced their arm, but I think financially that's quite a difficult deal for the Owls to do.
Monday night kickoff on talkSPORT. Myself, Adrian Durham, Stuart Pearce is with me through till 10. Darren Lewis, as well as we look ahead to the Premier League season. We're also taking a look at what's going on talkSPORT 2. Cardiff 0, Wrexham 1. Let's catch up with the commentary on talkSPORT 2. Here's Adrian Clark and Nigel Adderley.
To the left with Ruben Colwell just behind him. And we welcome listeners from talkSPORT back to the Cardiff City Stadium. 13 minutes to play. Still Cardiff 0, Wrexham 1. Kiefer Moore scoring in the 3rd minute. Moylan coming forward now for Cardiff. Fires in a shot which takes a big deflection off the back of Dominic Hyam, and it spins behind for a corner kick.
Yeah, he's been one of Cardiff's live wires tonight, Moylan. Moved from the centre to the left. He drifts in field there. Strikes it beautifully, but once again, it's a red Wrexham shirt that makes the block.
Cardiff are readying a triple change here as they look for a way back into this game. They've got a corner kick first on this near side with 12 minutes to play. Wrexham really should be out of sight. They've had all of the game's best opportunities. Patterson now fisting away the corner towards this near side, and they've been a cut above Cardiff for much of this game, but it's still only 1-0. Now Ruben Colwell now on the edge of the penalty area, goes back towards Bagan. Bagan had time to play it wide to the right and now plays it on towards Joel Colwell. Both of the Colwell brothers coming on for Cardiff in the second half. Ashford now cutting square with the penalty area, finding Robertson. Robertson though unable to turn, and it's Lewis O'Brien who brings the ball away. He goes down looking for the free kick, doesn't get it, and suddenly Cardiff have it on the edge of the penalty area. It's Moylan looking to link up with Ruben Colwell, but it breaks down and Wrexham bring it clear again. Sam Smith gets there before Bagan, appeals for handball on this near side, and the referee agrees.
Yeah, look, I completely agree with you. Wrexham deserve the lead and really should have had 2 or 3. They've had twice as many shots as Cardiff, made half as many passes. You know, it's been a really efficient performance. But they're streetwise and strong, Wrexham. Cardiff, young, enthusiastic, but really they've lacked the penetration to hurt Wrexham so far tonight.
Conclusion of the game over on talkSPORT 2. 11 minutes to play. Still Cardiff 0, Wrexham 1.
And to get talkSPORT 2, just download the talkSPORT app. Won't take you long. It's free and easy to use. You can get talkSPORT 2, Times Radio, Talk Radio, and the Virgin Music stations, as well, including the brilliant Virgin 80s. Actually, as a player's just come on for Wrexham, I just want to briefly say this, because we're going to talk about transfer fees and how wild they are. This is a striker who's just come on for Wrexham, Davies Keeler-Dunn. He signed for Wrexham in January to try and help them seal promotion. They didn't make the playoffs. He signed from Barnsley, where he'd been top scorer for a couple of seasons. It's thought for around about $1 million, whole package $2 million. Davies Keeler-Dunn has wasted his time going there. He's yet to start a game for Wrexham, yet to score a goal for them. 7 sub-appearances last season, coming on in the second half for all of those appearances, as he's done tonight. Of those 7 games, Wrexham have lost 6 and drawn 1. This could be the first game he's involved in for Wrexham that they win. Now, I'm not saying it's his fault, but I'm just looking at it thinking, you're playing and scoring at one club, and you go to another one, they don't even put you in the starting lineup. And Darren, that for me is absolutely baffling. I do wonder about players' decisions. I guess listen, money makes a difference. If you're going to be being paid more money, I get that as well. But they tell us the career is short. If the career is short, surely you want to play more.
I think you're absolutely right. And I see that happen so often. I know agents, I know players. I sometimes ask them myself, well, why have you made those decisions? I remember one player saying to me, sometimes the logical thing that you guys in the media think is going to happen, for us, it's very different. We might not necessarily be thinking in terms of the football. It might be in terms of our family. It might be in terms of a whole range of different things. But certainly, as you say, we are in an age where a lot of the young players in particular are not sitting on benches in the Premier League anymore. They're going to France, they're going to Germany, they're going to Dortmund, they're going to Werder Bremen, Schalke, wherever. They're going to Italy, they're going to Spain. Now, for that to be the case where someone's going to leave a club where they're scoring goals and on an upward trajectory, only to go to somewhere when they're on the bench, makes no sense whatsoever. Still 2 weeks of the transfer window left.
Yeah, and listen, he may score a goal tonight, and good luck to him. I really do want him to do well, but he said when Wrexham come calling, you can't say no, and maybe he should have said no. But,
yeah.
I do understand that if you're offered a big payday, it's very tempting to take it. In terms of transfer fees, Darren Lewis, I know you wanted to say something on this, but Elliot Anderson, 116 million. Morgan Rogers, 117 million pounds. There's some big money being paid.
Well, I'm going to go for it quite quickly, right? And what I want to do is I want to just ask you guys some questions, and then you can. Well, Elliot Anderson, 116 million pounds. Would he get into the Bayern Munich side?
I think he might.
Ahead of?
I think he might not. No, all right.
All right. Would he get into the Madrid side?
I'd say he's a talented player who those clubs might consider signing. There's a reason Man City wanted to sign him, right?
Well, presumably to replace Rodri, right? But Rodri has just landed in Barcelona as we're speaking, just in case you're listening to this at a point other than Monday night. Rodri will cost £65.4 million, apparently, right? I've mentioned to you guys what he's won as a footballer. Champions League, multiple Premier Leagues, FA Cups, League Cup, European Championship, World Cup, Nations League. How is Rodri going to Barcelona for around about half the money that Elliot Anderson's gone to Manchester City?
Is it because Rodri's injury record suggests he's not the Ballon d'Or level that he was?
Not really, no, because he just won the World Cup.
Elliot Anderson has a big future.
No, because in terms of value...
Are you saying basically, I mean, just because...
Is Elliot Anderson twice the player that Rodri is?
No, absolutely not.
Right.
I don't think anybody would say that. But Elliot Anderson was going for a certain fee, and that was the player Manchester City wanted, and they had to pay that for him. Are you saying they should have pulled out when it got to a certain level and he's not worth that?
I'm just saying that he is the best. And it's not Elliot Anderson's fault. And I don't say any of this to decry his ability. He probably will get good. It's arguable as to whether he's going to get anywhere near as good as Rodri. But Rodri is an emblematic elite-level footballer who is going for nearly half the money that Elliot Anderson's gone for. He's going for less the money that Fernandes, who was relegated with West Ham, has gone to Tottenham, £85 million. How is that the case?
In less than a year, Fernandes has gone for over £125 million in 2 deals.
There you go.
I saw him score the winner for Southampton at Northampton in the Carabao Cup first round last year. And since then, he's become a mega player. And he's good, but crikey.
He's not that good. And if you look at Tonali at Spurs, right? 26 years of age. Do you know how many goals he scored in the Premier League last season?
Go on.
3. But actually, none. He scored 3 goals last season. None in the Premier League.
So what is the general point you're making?
The general point that I'm making is that there are lots of clubs overpaying massively for players in this current transfer window.
In the Premier League only?
Absolutely. The position, for example, with Chelsea and Pedro Neto, right? Neto scored... Chelsea are saying, with interest in Neto from a number of parties, including Saudi, that they will not sell him for less than £100 million, right? Do you know how many goals he scored last season? 10. Do you know how many goals he scored in the Premier League? 5. Do you know when his last goal was in the Premier League? December. How is he a £100 million player?
It's a fair point.
And this is my point. You can so often... Man City themselves, they like this boy, Ouab, the Moroccan 18-year-old, right?
Oh, dear.
He's just a kid. They're talking... And I know he's a talented kid, but he's 18 years of age. There is no way he is an £85 million footballer. No way he's an £85 million footballer. And then that's the level we're talking about for him.
I'd also just throw in there, Ferran Torres, in the last year of his contract, admittedly, has just left Barcelona to go to PSG for less than £50 million.
There you go.
Got over 20 goals for Barcelona last season.
And
winner in the World Cup.
And I will counter you with Anthony Gordon, right? Good on his player, £80 million to Barcelona. Do you know how many goals he scored last season? In the Premier League? 6.
And how many of them were penalties?
Exactly.
And they count, I get that. Stuart, what do you think of this?
It just tells you that the Premier League has got so much money awash of it that people are just... Whatever comes in, it seems to go out.
Yeah.
You know, in abundance. And fans need to be seen to be spending money for their own sake. So the clubs do that. It's like you're saying. Tottenham spent, 250 million. So there's an expectation to generate that excitement in some ways. But the value of all these players, really, if I was managing and someone said to me, Elliot Anderson, good player, worth signing, the answer's yes. Someone said to me, put your name to him, £120 million or whatever, I would get very nervous. You know what I mean? Without a doubt.
I just think that when Gareth Bale went to Real Madrid, £85 million, you saw almost immediately where your money had gone. He'd been outstanding for Tottenham. He'd been sensational in the Champions League. And he goes there and he scores a magnificent goal in the Copa del Rey. Yeah, a game changer. That's the kind of level you're talking about if you go anywhere near £100 million. Now, Rodri provides that. With respect to all of the others, but I'm sorry, I'm experienced enough to be able to say, without it being interpreted as a criticism, it is fact. Tonali didn't get into double figures last season in goals. Gordon did not get into double figures in terms of goals last season. Neto was average in terms of goals last season. And yet we're talking about the thick end of £300 million for each of combined for those players.
You know what I think's changed in the game as of probably the last 20 years? You can have a bad season or two bad seasons and it doesn't affect your evaluation. And I find that incredible. Like, I cast my mind back to years ago. If you're continually doing well, that was your valuation. If you started doing badly, your valuation would go down. There seems to be no relevance to your form and the valuation.
It has. You're right to bring it up. It has gone crazy. Let's see how some of these perform in this coming season. A couple of minutes left in the Cardiff City Stadium. Wrexham still lead 1-0. That's live on talkSPORT 2.
Joe, very satisfying. Bit of a statement. Just remember, it's only a glorified friendly.
First of all, I want to say a big good morning to the talkSPORT listeners. It's a fantastic Monday morning, isn't it? It is for sure. Listen, guys, Jeff, Ali, who's going to beat us this season? You tell me. Who is going to take over in the city of London? Who?
On that evidence, nobody.
Nobody.
Right. But
Chelsea.
I think Chelsea.
It's premature, Jeff. It's premature.
Well, it's premature. You're saying who's going to beat us?
We've won the trophy available to win.
Yeah,
we've done it.
It's difficult for you guys not to get carried away after that, but at the same time, I wouldn't be overly worried about Manchester City's performance. Although, with the golf in that particular game, I would be slightly concerned.
Ali, I have to add, it is time to get excited. It's time to get super excited because I don't think there's a time in the league where it's been more open for us to dominate. I mean, if you look at Liverpool, Areola, we don't know what he's going to do. You're talking about Alonso. We're raving about a manager. And you've seen the ins and outs of Chelsea. It's not even stable there yet. I've just seen recently that Nicholas Jackson, who's been one of their best players in the pre-season, he's in the bomb squad with Liam Delap. You turn around, you look at Man City, it's looking shaky. You look at Aston Villa. There's no point you getting me in the morning with Gabby anymore. There's no point. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing, Gabby. I'm not going to see you again, mate. We're that far gone.
see Barnet won at the weekend. Sorry, mate. So Jason Cundy is with us. Sports Bar is back.
All right, gentlemen. Yeah, the Sports Bar is back. Premier League football is back. Cannot wait. Numbnuts is back as well, and with him.
That's Jamie O'Hara.
Jamie O'Hara to everyone else. Yes. How are we, gentlemen?
Well, I'm still reeling from you saying Chelsea are going to win the title.
Mate, we will go close. I genuinely feel
Hang on, that's a
we'll
bit
go
different
close.
to win the title. You're going to go close.
No,
So you might finish second.
Well, look, Arsenal are the best side. They proved it last year. In fact, last 3 years, that title has been coming for quite some time. I've got to tell you, mate, right? There is something about, and I've seen Chelsea have terrible seasons and go and win things. And there is some method to my madness.
Go
right?
on.
We have a manager that knows how to win the league, right? There's only two that can win it. Arteta's proven he can win it. So is Xabi Alonso in Germany.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh well, so
that don't
he's
count.
not saying it now. Germany doesn't.
There
count
is
it,
a lot.
according
There
to
is a
Darren.
lot of new managers in this country, right? Chelsea have an unbelievable squad. There's a number of things he's got to sort out. Discipline. He has to sort that. These are little things I think can make a big difference. Stuart will tell you as a manager, if he can come in and say, right, we were getting red cards for fun last season.
Who's your
It was
outstanding
costing-
centre-half?
It was costing
Who's
us.
your
I haven't
outstanding
finished
centre-half?
yet. I haven't finished
Who's
yet.
your outstanding centre-half?
Levi Colwill. Right?
Okay.
All right? Levi Colwill. By the way, had a rest in the summer. Esteval, rest in the summer. Palmer, rest in the summer. João Pedro, rest in the summer. This squad is a good squad. I would argue we've got probably the best front three. Probably best front three.
You are going to score lots of goals next season,
Yep.
but you are going to concede lots of goals next season.
Well,
And
okay,
that's
fair
why you're
enough.
not gonna be in the top
Then we'll struggle. I genuinely feel that we have got a chance, really, and we've got one game a week. One game a week. This squad can deal with one game a week. And then, look, I've seen Chelsea win Premier League from being in a position like this. Squad's slightly different. I genuinely feel we will go very close, really close.
Okay, can I throw this at you, Darren Lewis? But you're dismissed, by the way.
Was that it?
What are you talking about?
Chelsea win the title.
And taking
No,
calls.
we're going to be talking about Arsenal and Man City. what happened yesterday? By the way, City looked miles off it, right?
Yeah. I think who you got here? Darren Lewis says they'll finish 5th. Stuart's got them 7th.
Oh, jeez.
There you go. So
I'm off.
Sports Bar next. 03717223344. It's O'Hara and Cundy. He's mentioned Arteta winning a title and Alonso winning a title. Frank Lampard won a title last season, and Frank Lampard's title win in the Championship with Coventry. Would you say then, Darren Lewis, bearing in mind your logic with the Bundesliga, is a more difficult and more admirable achievement than what Xabi Alonso did in Germany?
No, because in Germany, as the pressure started to build, and not only that, he went unbeaten all season, but he actually went undefeated in the Europa League until he got to the final as well.
Battered, yeah.
Yeah, but in the final. But until then, he was able to combine Europa League success with maintaining that run.
And won the German Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So it was fantastic. What Frank did with no expectation whatsoever was sensational, because he'd obviously taken them from an awful position and instilled that belief. So they were two comparable achievements. But I'm not looking to denigrate any of the achievements.
No, and actually, there's a reason why I asked that, because I think Frank Lampard's achievement with Coventry is underrated, because there's no parachute money going on. No. They'd had stability with Mark Robbins following him and success. They're on the brink of an FA Cup final. They got to a playoff final penalty shootout that they lost. And that's with injured players as well. And they came close, and he had to follow
back to
that.
what we were talking about in terms of stability and culture.
Yeah, and I think he had to. They then dipped, as you said, and he had to rescue them from a bad position, and then took them up. Just one little bit of business. Stuart Pearce said earlier he had a couple of strugglers. So your 3 to go down were Ipswich, Hull, and Sunderland. Yeah, Sunderland fans. And your 2 strugglers you were going to mention?
Fulham and Newcastle.
Okay, Newcastle just struggled. Darren, you said that as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm worried about Newcastle.
We got an Inside the Toon podcast here, and the Newcastle fans who do that at talkSPORT reckon they're going to finish about 6th.
Good luck with that.
It's wildly optimistic, isn't it? Crazy. Still playing in South Wales. Cardiff 0, Wrexham 1. In fact, they've gone past the injury time. Are we reading anything in Jack Grealish being there or not?
Sure.
Unless there's a stag weekend in Cardiff, then
that is outrageous.
I think he'll be at Wrexham. I'm reading into it.
Is there a chance Everton get him? You've got some inside knowledge there. Do they want him back?
Can't say anything. I can't betray trust, can I?
Oh, right. Oh, he's got some inside information. Oh, Cardiff. I think that's Ruben Colwell has just whacked in a free kick from the edge of the box. 6 minutes added on in the 97 on the clock, and he has just scored a brilliant free kick for 1-1. Davis Keeler Dunn doesn't win again. Listen, really enjoyed the show. We're going to be reminded of those bad predictions, by the way, and the good ones will be forgotten completely. Darren Lewis, Stuart Pearce, thank you very much. Closing stages, they're still going to be playing, is on talkSPORT 2, Cardiff 1, Wrexham 1. Sports Bar next on talkSPORT.
Another one or two players in Man United in with a shout at the title. What do you think, Gabby?
No, I think Champions League will take a lot out of that squad of players. I look at right backs, Mazraoui, Dalot, not good enough. Centre backs, they need cover there as well. Shesko, listen, he done okay last season, double figures. He's got to be at it this season. They've got a very good squad of players, Jeff, but if they don't get 2 or 3 top players in certain roles, I don't think they can fight for the title. I think top 4 again and get out the group stage of the Champions League will be a very good season.
Yeah, I mean, they've not been too busy in the transfer market, to say the least. They've brought in Yuri Tielemans, they've brought in Andre Santos. Ben Foster thinks one of those is the signing of the summer.
I still think Yuri Tielemans is the signing so far.
What a better business that is.
What a bit of business.
Yeah.
Honestly, I genuinely still think I'm watching a load of transfers happen, and Tottenham spending a lot of money and Arsenal just spent a lot of money. I still think Yuri Tielemans is the signing of the summer so far for 30-odd million quid, whatever it was. He is a ready-made, good-to-go starting 11 player, and I think if you can spend £30 million on a ready-to-go starter, it is worth every single penny.
Yeah. And I agree with him. I think Yuri Tielemans is going to be one of the signings of the summer. But when I look at that midfield, talent is Tielemans and Bruno, Meno and Andre Santos. That's just too thin on the ground, isn't it?